Hello and welcome to NXTGEN Racing, the home of clean and fair sim racing for all.
There we go. Apologies for that. Welcome everyone to round 8 at Interlagos. Mic issues just then, I apologise everyone. But we're back, and we are back this week, Thursday night racing, with NXTGEN Racing, and this is the GT3 League. Round 8 is coming to you here from Interlagos, or otherwise known as the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache circuit, right in the heart of Sao Paulo, on the outskirts actually of Sao Paulo. And the reason it's called Interlagos is because it is in between two lakes situated in Sao Paulo, the Represa Billings and the Represa de Guarapiranga. I hope my Portuguese is on point there, but fantastic track. This has hosted many legendary F1 races over the years. I'm a bit hazy on what it's hosted in terms of GT3, but is that Glock? What an iconic moment. Ayrton Senna winning the 1991 Brazilian Grand Prix, finishing the race with only 6th gear and finishing with extreme exhaustion. And of course, Fernando Alonso's reaction to losing the World Championship in 2012, that's one of the biggest memes Formula 1 has ever created. And of course, his relaxation meme, sitting on the side, retiring from the GP2 engine McLaren, of course. But enough about those memories. We're into GT3 racing tonight with NXTGEN Racing. And here at Interlagos, we're going to be racing on the sprint race and feature race format. As you can see on the information on the right of the graphic there, we have a 20-minute sprint race tonight to start the racing off, and a 60-minute feature race, which will feature one pit stop later on in the night. That all is preceded by qualifying, which will set the grid for the sprint race. And the grid will be set by overall positioning in qualifying. So where you qualify overall is where you'll start in the sprint race. Whereas in the feature race, as there are categories in this championship, it will be a grid based on the sprint race results, but every category will be grouped together, and those results from those categories will be reversed. So if you finish first in your category in the sprint race, you'll start the back of your category for the feature race. Understand? Great. Now let's move on to more housekeeping. We have got the GT3 in its sixth season of existence in NXTGEN Racing. I remember taking part in the very first GT3 championship, which was actually GTE and GT3. Good memories back then. My name is Alex Everett. I'm your commentator tonight on behalf of Crest Autosport. Welcome along tonight. If you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube, and if you're watching on Kick. And if you are watching on any of those profiles, any of those platforms, please make sure that you have liked, followed, or even subscribed to the channel of NXTGEN Racing that you are watching from. Welcome along. And a big shout out to all the partners, sponsors and affiliates of NXTGEN Racing that include PowerMax Racing, Sam Cases, Benji Sim Photos, Douglas Motorsport, Motorsport UK Esports Division, Falconer PC, Mark Sykes Designs, Joyce Design and Moser Racing, and of course the title sponsor of this championship, Only Racing, where the winner of this championship at the end of the season will win £500 store credits for Only Racing. If you want to get involved in NXTGEN Racing, there are 3 leagues on offer. There are the GT3s that we're racing in now. There is the NXTGEN Touring Car Series, which I believe is full entries. But you can still get involved and potentially sign yourself down as a reserve driver, or even get involved in future seasons. Who knows? And there is an F4 season, a Formula 4 season, ongoing at the moment at NXTGEN. But if you scan the QR code on the bottom left, or click the Discord link in our description of this video, you can get access to NXTGEN Racing's Discord community, which gives you insight into all the politics that go on at NXTGEN Racing leagues, and communicate with the drivers, and just keep an eye on all the announcements that NXTGEN has in its sim racing ventures on iRacing. But of course, in our GT3 season, there are 10 tracks and 10 rounds we will visit this season, and we're in round 8 right now. But all them months ago, we visited Fuji for the first round of the season in Japan. Then it was round 2 at Road America in America. Round 3 was the first of 3 endurance rounds of the championship. Those tracks highlighted in yellow are the endurance rounds. Back to the sprint and feature race formats for round 4 of the championship, which was at Suzuka. And then round 5 to see us out for the first half of the season was Catalonia in Barcelona, Spain. We had a week off, but then we came back with the Nordschleife, the Green Hell, which was 2 weeks ago. That was round 6 of the championship. And last week, our most recent round until today, was at Zolder GP, round 7 of the championship, and it was our first race of the season where we had rain. And it was quite the entertainment in that sprint race and in qualifying, because the rain stopped before qualifying, and it meant that... the rain got harder during qualifying, excuse me. It meant that doing your laps early on in qualifying were your best laps. So all the best laps were put in the first 5 minutes of qualifying. It was quite the entertainment. And the sprint race was very, very difficult for the drivers. And the heavens cleared up, and it was a nice dry race for the feature race. But that was Zolder last week. This week we're here at Interlagos for round 8 of the championship, and we're right at the back end of the championship now. Next week will be our final round of the sprint and feature race format, the penultimate round of the season, and that'll be at the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit. So not the entire Nordschleife Nürburgring, that'll be just the Grand Prix circuit that hosts the Eiffel Grand Prix, the German Grand Prix, that's hosted the Luxembourg Grand Prix, the European Grand Prix over the years. And the final round of the championship, round 10, will be at Daytona Road. What a legendary track for GT3, for endurance racing. It hosts the 24 Hours of Daytona every year, and it's going to host the final round of this season in December to see us out for the season and see us heading towards Christmas. These are the cars that the drivers can use and choose in this season. They're all GT3 cars. They're all the prime GT3 cars, I'd say, that are available on iRacing. That include the Audi R8, the BMW M4, the Chevrolet Corvette, the Ferrari 296, the Ford Mustang, the Lamborghini Huracan, the McLaren 720S, which is the most recent release of these cars on iRacing, the Mercedes AMG, and the Porsche 911. And there are more GT3 cars on the horizon in iRacing, including the Acura Honda, and there are rumours of the Lexus coming to iRacing. So who knows? We're going to get plenty of more GT3 cars in the seasons to come. So that is the majority of the housekeeping over and done with. But we're going to do a little bit more. We're going to get you up to date on the championship standings as we head into tonight. And we're getting into the point of the season where we're going to have to start working out things as they stand during the races. Because I refer to you to the gold category standings here. It is actually possible for Ben McCluskey to win the gold championship tonight. Now, it's quite a tall order for him to do that, but it is actually possible. So the gap between Benjamin McCluskey and Stephen Bird at the top of the table is 73 points. And actually, if Ben McCluskey opens up a lead to more than 98 points heading out of tonight, he will win the championship. That does mean he will need to outscore Stephen Bird by 25 points, which is going to be incredibly difficult to do in the sprint and feature race formats that we have. But it's not impossible, as I said, it's mathematically possible. So it might end up going to round 9 at the Nürburgring, but it's looking very, very likely at the moment for Ben McCluskey, provided he has good rounds from here on in. Stephen Bird, second place in the championship. Although he entered late, he's been doing brilliant this season. He has a win to his name as well. And he is rewarded with second in the championship. Just 10 points, though, ahead of our host of this series, Gaz Williams, third place. Mike Barber had a really good round, actually, last time at Zolder. He was right in the thick of all the front-end battling last time out at Zolder. The Verano Motorsport driver, fourth place in the standings as we head into tonight. Edwin Simpson, who has missed a few rounds now. Is he back tonight? Can't see him on the standings, which is a bit of a shame, but fifth in the championship for him at the moment. Tied sixth place is Sean Shute and Gavin Gardner. And we got Martin Hobson in 8th position, not too far behind them. And not too far behind him is Jamie Dory of NXTGEN Racing, our host of the NXTGEN Touring Car Series here at NXTGEN. And Ben Oucher in 10th position. Over to the silver category now, and this was drama-filled last week at Zolder. Kyle Oosthuizen had a disconnection in the feature race, And that meant that Nigel Stock was given a bit of a lifeline because he didn't have a good round either. He was struggling a bit last week as well. And as you can see there from those two, 20 points and 18 points scored from each of them, which keeps them close in the championship, keeps them just 8 points apart from one another. What it does do, though, is it welcomes in third place, Ian Manners. He gets a decent round compared to Kyle and Nigel, and that puts him to within 24 points of Kyle Oosthuizen for third place there. Jeffrey Kruger has missed a few rounds this season, and although he's been strong when he has been racing, fourth place due to those missed rounds at the moment for him on 162 points. We have in fifth position Matthew Addy, and just 2 points behind him is Aaron Hobson. Mark Baker seventh with Mark Sykes. Mr. NXTGEN himself is in 8th place. Baz Meacham in 9th. Missed a few rounds, but a couple of race wins this season. He sits 9th. And Paul Walsh, commentator of the NXTGEN Touring Car Series, is in 10th. Bronze category, and this is a very exciting category this season. Still 4 cars, 4 drivers in with a chance of the championship. They're only 9 points apart, that top 4, and they're headed by Adam Wilson-Weir, who, following Zolder last week, has become the 5th different driver to lead the championship in bronze category this season. There's him, Andy Rooney, Elwyn Sykes, and Gabriel Papaconstantino, all of which in the top 4 of the championship have all led the championship, as well as Stephen de Grevelier earlier on in the championship. But Wilson-Weir at the top of the standings, just 4 points ahead of teammate Andy Rooney in 2nd. Elwyn Sykes, who was leading the championship not too long ago, is in 3rd, but still very close behind in that 3rd place. Gabriel Papaconstantino, who had the best round of the 4 in Zolder, still sits in 4th place. Kurt Van Honecker is in 5th position, jumping position by position over the recent rounds. And Stein Vatens, who's really come into form lately with a good performance at the Nürburgring in round 6 and a good performance last week at Zolder with the sprint win to his name. 6th place for him. Rob Savage is 7th position, followed by teammate Jonathan Berry. Craig Tillotson, who's changed cars, is in 9th position. And Stephen de Grevelier back tonight, but missed 3 rounds on the track. He will be 10th. Teams Championship now, and it is at the moment a runaway of 88-point lead for NXTGEN Racing with Benji Sim Photos, and they consist of the main admins of the series, Gaz Williams and Benji Sim Photos himself, Ben McCluskey, and Alan McCain, their 3rd driver. They lead the championship still, and they've led from start to so far. Quinamass Power Drivers Academy back into 2nd place following last week at Zolder. And they're followed close by CSA Team Passup. Yorkshire Mafia Racing were 2nd place in the championship, but they dropped to 4th following the last round. But we'll see how they get on this week. And Quinamass Motorsport are 5th. So that's the championship situation heading into tonight, and we'll keep referring back to it in points tonight. But we have got racing to keep an eye on tonight. And a reminder for qualifying that's coming up very, very shortly, ladies and gentlemen. Although we look at the standings generally for category-based positions, we are going to make it an overall standings like this for qualifying, because that will be how they end up lining up on the grid for the sprint race coming up tonight. But something to bear in mind as well is that if you qualify on pole position in your category, you get 1 bonus point, which at this point in the season is crucial, particularly in the close battles that are 1st to 3rd place in silver category and 1st to 4th place, which is even closer in the bronze category. Every point matters at this point in the season. But a little bit of a surprise before we get underway with qualifying at top of the standings, not on the track at the moment, but a new driver in the name of Harry Langford in his 1st race tonight, and he's racing for Quinamass Motorsports. He's top of the standings at the moment. Quite the pace on Langford so far here, so potentially a new contender for the front of the field with the likes of McCluskey, Gaz Williams, Stefan Wessels, Stephen Bird, Mike Barber, etc, etc. And before we head into qualifying, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit unprofessional here, I realise, but I might at times have to go on mute and might have to have a 5-second break. I've got a nasty cold, so I'm going to have to breathe every now and again, but I'll do my best tonight. Winter's come around, so it's very, very difficult. Right, okay, we're heading straight into qualifying now, and we'll join the drivers down at the pit lane as they exit the pits. And the thing is, with Interlagos, we're going to have a round of the track on board with someone, but it is quite a technical track, and I'm hearing mutterings amongst the crowd that the Porsche and the Ferrari will probably be the better cars tonight. The Porsche is very good through the corners, and the Ferrari is just generally an all-rounder, as I've mentioned many times this season. So we see Nigel Stock in one of the Ferraris and Matthew Addy in one of the Porsches. It will be, potentially, they will be the cars to beat tonight, is what I'm hearing. Kyle Oosthuizen here, coming out of the pits. He's got a big job to do tonight. He's had a few, I'll say, rusty rounds recently. I wouldn't say out of form, because he has still been brilliant. He won the sprint race last time out. He just got incredibly unlucky with the feature race with the disconnection. But he'll be back determined tonight to get some points and to put, I'd say, more of a hand on the trophy that will come at the end of the season for each category. And we are going to have a lap of Interlagos with our championship leader. This is Ben McCluskey on the brink of history in this championship, on the brink of a championship. It might be next week, it might be this week. We'll see how tonight goes. But we're going to get a lap on board with Ben McCluskey now as he crosses the line. We head down towards turn number 1, braking as we turn into the apex of the corner. The Senna S's, turns 1 and turns 2 here. Now around the long left-hander, the Curva de Sol. Keeping it nice and tight to the inside and then bleeding it over to the right as we go on to the back straight, heading up towards turn number 4. The Descida de Lago. Down the gears and then accelerating late on the exit of the corner there to make sure you stay within the track limits. The corner that goes on longer than you always think. One of my favourite corners in the world, the Ferradura, turns 7 and 6 here. And then heavy braking into the twisty S's here. Turn number 8 and then left round the long turn number 9. First gear, 60 miles per hour. Hard on the throttle as we head into the slowest corner on the circuit. Turn number 10. Turning quite a lot of the wheel there. And then unloading as we head through the Magulo. And now into Juncao. A corner, shall I say, that always leads to someone running wide onto the grass on that corner, but nice and clean for McCluskey there. And as we head up the hill and round this fast section, that would look like a very clean, tidy lap from McCluskey. Let's see what the time is as he comes across the line. And I think it was a good lap, actually. A 1:33.8 effectively for McCluskey. Mike Barber puts himself into 4th place now as Gene McLaughlin, our resident American, in 3rd position in his Porsche. Ben Bennyworth, nice time for him. And he had a good sprint race last time out at Zolder. 4th place for him at the moment. Stephen Bird, 2nd in the championship, 2nd in the standings right now. He's going to have one eye on McCluskey. He's going to know deep down it's going to be difficult to close in on that championship lead. But he'll certainly do his best. We know that much. We do have a new driver in the name of Danny Janowski there. Now, the reason his number is blacked out there is because I had no idea he was joining us tonight. So I'll have to try and do this on the go. But Janowski will be a silver category driver. But silver category, it is Kyle Oosthuizen at the top for the moment. Alan McCain there, 24th. We'll hope for a better lap and a better position as time goes by. And as I mentioned earlier, ladies and gentlemen, the grid is formed by the overall standings of qualifying. There's no grouping into categories for this sprint race coming up next on the channel. Ryan Blackwell back after a week off last week. He did race 2 rounds ago at Nordschleife, and I believe he was running in the top 3 for the majority of that round. So welcome back to him. Let's see how he gets on. It was looking promising on his debut. Stephen Bird goes to the top of the standings on a 133.7. Nips ahead of his championship rival. Drivers heading across the line. The standings should shuffle quite a bit now as drivers have got a little bit warmed up. Matthew Addy goes into second place at the Silvers, 12th position overall in the standings. And we revert our focus to Andy Rooney, one of the main protagonists in the bronze category. He's heading towards the line currently. We switch over to these drivers gaggling for position here, swapping positions in and out, trying to get the best amount of slipstream. And although this is a very technical track, actually, particularly for a GT3, is Interlagos, slipstream still very much helps in getting the best out of your lap time. And that's Mike Barber trying to get out of the way of other drivers, trying to get himself a good run for his next lap. Drivers pulling over there to the side just to make sure they are out of the way of other drivers coming through. And this is the new driver of Danny Janowski in the silver category. Heading up towards turn number 1 now, is doing okay in silver category, 5th in category right now and 15th overall. So a good start to his next gen career, or even his GT3 career. Okay, so Stephen Bird and Ben McCluskey in the pits at the moment. We've got Martin Hobson doing very, very well here in 3rd position. He'll definitely be trying his best to help out his teammate in Yorkshire Mafia to try and get them guys more, well, to help Stephen Bird in his Drivers' Championship. But also Yorkshire Mafia have a very good opportunity for 2nd in the Teams Championship this season. They were in 2nd in the Teams Championship before last week, dropped down, but it's still within reach for them. It's still definitely in their plans, I imagine. Kyle Oosthuizen with a very strong qualifying performance at the moment. And the way it kind of works with this series is you get promoted to gold category if you've got the potential for gold category. I think Kyle Oosthuizen might be a candidate for that promotion for next season. So far, so good for the South African driver here in qualifying. Bronze category, top of the standings, is leader at the championship. It's Adam Wilson-Weir. So this is a very good start to his lead defence. But he's followed close behind in the timings anyway by Elwyn Sykes, who will be keen to get that championship lead back. Harry Langford, we're going to watch him head towards the line. He was very strong in practice as G. McLaughlin goes up to 4th in the standings right now. A lot of drivers on their outlap as Langford heads into the pits to get himself some fresh boots. This is Stephen Bird, leader at the 2nd in the championship, leading in qualifying at the moment. As he heads into turn number 1 to start his new flying lap. Ooh, a little bit obstructed there by the Quetemas car there. He'll pull off, try and conserve his tyres for another new lap. Ben McCluskey will equally start a brand new lap. Now the thing is, for Stephen Bird and Ben McCluskey, Bird will be very keen to get those qualifying bonus points because he will want as many points as he can get. Whereas McCluskey will be more relaxed about not getting the bonus points in qualifying, as he will feel he has a strong grasp on the championship, knowing he can, I think he knows anyway, that he has a mathematical chance of winning tonight. we'll see how that pans out as the round goes on. Now, Baz Meacham hasn't attended many rounds this season, actually, but he's been rapid this season. Very good in that McLaren. He's had 2 wins this season. One at Suzuka and one last week at Zolder. He was the winner of the sprint race? Feature race last week. Yeah, he was very topsy-turvy in the silver race last week. Kyle Oosthuizen disconnected and Nigel Stock just couldn't quite get to the front. It's Baz Meacham picking up the win there. As he crossed the line again, still 3rd position in the silver category, but 14th overall. Remember, it's where the drivers finish in qualifying overall is where they'll start. It's crucial because in those sprint races, it means you're clustered in with other categories and points are based on your results in your category. It's where you finish overall has got nothing to do with the amount of points you score in this championship. In any of the races, it's all down to your categories. The drivers themselves know what categories each driver is in. They have little tags next to their name that tells them whether a driver's in gold, silver or bronze, and that's how they know who to battle with and who potentially to not battle with. Let's take a look to Gaz Williams here. He has got, I believe that's Mike Barber behind him. Yes, it is. So these 2 gold drivers sticking close together. Mike Barber might actually get the benefit of some slipstream up this main straight here. Oh, yes. And, yeah, Andy Rooney, thanks for reminding me. Yes, there's something else to bear in mind tonight. Very hot track temperature. So if you look to the below the weather radar there, 51 degrees track temperature. That is steaming hot. I'm not actually sure why the track is so hot. Somebody might be able to explain the physics of it to me. I'm not actually sure, but yeah, extremely hot track tonight. And the thing is with iRacing, partially real life as well, when you've got a steaming hot track like that on iRacing, it's the least grippy situation you can have on iRacing. It is half like driving in the wet. That's what I remember from my Kia Optima days anyway on iRacing. It was really hot weather. And that's what the drivers will be struggling with tonight, is the hot tyre temperatures. And I saw a screenshot in the NXTGEN Discord just a moment ago. It was Sammy Ariba was sharing a screenshot where his front right tyre got up to 214 degrees Fahrenheit, which is insane tyre temperature. So that's what the drivers are dealing with tonight. They may have got wet weather last week at Zolder, but they've got a hot track temperature this week, which makes it almost equally as low grip. Ben McCluskey has responded in the last moments or so with a strong lap time of 33.5 to put himself back to the top of the standings. There's a reason he's championship leader. He's damn quick. Excellent time from him. Let's see if Stephen Bird or even anyone else can respond. At the moment, it's Gene McLaughlин's best performance in qualifying in the gold category this season. Attended a few rounds this season, Gene has. He was fairly late entry, but this is looking like so far his best qualifying performance to date. Nigel Stock needs to respond to a disappointing last round at Zolder. And his rival is all the way up there in 8th place overall. And Nigel Stock is down in 20th at the moment, 7th in category. So it's not quite working out for him at the moment here in qualifying. But there's still time left. Drivers can get in, I would say, another 4 laps maybe. And our newcomer, Harry Langford, was 3rd in the standings. And he was pipped down immediately by the driver driving behind him. And that's Martin Hobson, ahead of his teammate in the standings. And Martin Hobson, as it stands, one of his best qualifying performances to date. So a lot of surprises so far at the moment in qualifying here, ladies and gentlemen. It's very, very interesting to watch. And Interlagos is one of those tracks that can do that, actually, to these leagues on iRacing. I love this track. I absolutely love driving here in any car. And a lot of drivers have that here. You get similar with Spa, you get similar with Suzuka, I guess, where there's certain tracks where certain drivers will just click with. And I think we're seeing that with some drivers tonight. Kyle Oosthuizen's shrunk his lap time even more. He's near the 33, so 34.04 for him at the moment. And that puts him back into 8th overall in the standings, which puts him a lot of cars ahead of his fellow silver rivals. Matthew Addy is the closest car, and he's in 14th. Heading back out onto the track to do a few more laps to tail off qualifying. Good qualifying performance relative to his category positions at the moment for Matthew Addy. But Kyle Oosthuizen is king of the hill at the moment in the silvers, it's safe to say. Kurt Van Honecker, excuse me, in 38th place there, following G. McCluskey. And a new leader, top of the standings in bronze category. It is Papa Constantino to the top of the standings as we head into the final 4 minutes of the session. Brilliant time for Papa Constantino to put him into the top 20 provisionally, 4 places ahead of his rivals, and not only rivals in the category and in this race and in qualifying, rivals in the championship. Big statement there from Papa Constantino, where there's only 9 points between the top 4 in the bronze category championship. Every bonus point counts, and pole position gives you a bonus point. Let's keep an eye on Adam Wilson. He's heading towards the line now, not going quicker. They're yellow sectors, which is not optimal, and it is a 36.6, so not a great time for, sorry, a 35.5 actually. I don't know what our timing screen was telling me there, but he'll try another lap here. And he'll go again. Let's keep an eye on some gold category drivers. We've got Gaz Williams heading down towards the final set of corners into Juncao now. Stephen Bird's got a purple sector I can see there, so we'll have to keep an eye on him as well. He's not too far behind Gaz Williams. In fact, he's just behind Gaz Williams right there. So Gaz Williams will cross the line very shortly. Got Mike Barber also crossing the line, and Gaz Williams abort. Stephen Bird also aborts. Now, are these drivers calling it quits on qualifying? Because I struggle to see they can get out there and get another good lap in. Ben McCluskey with a purple sector. Can this go even quicker? It does. Wow, it does. At 33.3. Fabulous time from McCluskey. And he does that while his main championship rival's in the pits right now. Incredible from our championship leader. And it's looking very likely for another pole position for Ben McCluskey. Kurt Van Honecker. There's a lot of drivers, by the way, in the pits. Pole sitter currently for the bronze category, Gabriel Papaconstantino, is in the pits. Was that a better lap from Kurt Van Honecker? It was, and it puts him into 4th place in category, 28th in the standings. That is pretty good for Kurt Van Honecker. It puts him in the mix. Matthew Cheverton goes quicker to go 14th and 17th overall, and a new pole sitter in silvers at the moment. Matthew Addy goes ahead of Kyle Oosthuizen, and Matthew Addy I don't think has been pole position yet this season in silvers, and he is currently in the seat for that right now. 8th overall and 1st in category. Brilliant lap from Matthew Addy. There's still time though. There is still time. Kyle Oosthuizen is still out on the track. He's just started a brand new lap, so this will probably be the one for him. He might be able to squeeze in. No, he won't. This will be the lap for Kyle Oosthuizen if he's going to try and take back that pole position. Stefan Wessels, let's keep an eye on him because he was pole position last week at Zolder, but this week it's not quite coming together for him. 12th in the standings at the moment. Nigel Stock has put in a good lap. 4th in category, 18th overall. That puts him more in the mix and closer to where he was before. He wasn't looking very good before, but he will have another chance right here. He started another lap before the checkered flag comes out. He'll have another opportunity. Langford goes quicker. He goes 3rd in the standings. Ben Outer has put himself up to 7th position, And also, new driver Danny Janowski puts himself into 4th, putting Nigel Stock down to 5th. That is 17th overall for Janowski. Other drivers that are out on the track at the moment. Stephen de Gravelia, what can he do? Danny Switzer has just crossed the line for Verano Motorsports there, and the checkered flag is out. Danny Switzer, who's our first pole sitter of the season for bronze category, back at Fuji. He's 2nd right here, right now. Stephen de Gravelia, I'm not sure if he crossed the line in time, but he might be able to try another lap here to get himself further up than 8th in category, 37th overall. Kyle Oosthuizen goes back into pole position in silver category. He swiped it back from Matthew Addy and puts himself 7 overall while he's at it for a very strong qualifying performance. Very, very impressive indeed. But what can his championship rival do? 2 green sectors for Nigel Stock, 2 yellow sectors. So we'll have to see how he gets on. Can he get himself further up the standings and get himself closer to his rivals? He's going to complete this lap. He feels it's good. Stays where he is, actually. It's quicker, but it's not up positions-wise. Ben McCluskey has finished his laps. Hobson aborts, Langford aborts. What can Stephen Bird do? He's touring now, so he's called it quits on qualifying, and I think that might be our grid. I don't think there's any drivers proper gunning it at the moment for a faster time. Maybe the exception of Danny Switzer. He's going to complete this lap here. He stays 2nd, so not quicker. Maybe it was an extra practice lap for him. That might have been it. Now, the only driver on a flying lap at the moment is Jochen Siegert. I think we may have our grid at the moment, and it was a brilliant, brilliant, responsive performance from Kyle Oosthuizen to retake pole position in the silver category, and Ben McCluskey really throwing down the gauntlet with a time nearly 3/10 quicker than his nearest rivals in this qualifying session. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, how they are overall there on our timing towels, how they start for the sprint race. They all start together, and usually it can lead to quite frantic starts in these sprint races, but it's incredibly exciting for us viewers. So we're going to be heading over to the grid, because we're going straight into the sprint race now, ladies and gentlemen. So here's your grid for the opening race of the night here for round 8 at Interlagos. Our 20-minute sprint race grid will be as follows. Ben McCluskey on pole position with Martin Hobson, his best qualifying start of the season, 2nd. Harry Langford, debut tonight, so let's see how he gets on, his 3rd. And we got 2nd in the championship driver, Stephen Bird, in 4th. Gene McClawn with one of his best performances in qualifying of this season, 5th position with Gaz Williams, our host, in 6th position. Kyle Oosthuizen with the bonus points in silver category, pole position of them, 7th overall. Ben Eltra in 8th position with Sean Shute in 9th, and Matthew Addy, impressive pace from him, reaching the top 10 overall here and 2nd in silvers. Mike Barber in 11th with last week's pole sitter Stefan Wessels, 12th tonight. Jamie Dory 13th with Ben Bennyworth in 14th. Baz Meacham 3rd of silvers in 15th. Alan McCain is 16th, followed by Jake Pitt. Danny Janowski on his debut tonight, 4th in the silvers but 18th overall. Matthew Cheverton is 19th with Nigel Stock starting 20th. Mark Baker will start 21st with Aaron Hobson alongside in 22nd. Pole position of the bronze category drivers is Gabriel Papaconstantino. He's 23rd with Paul Williams alongside in 24th. Danny Switzer in 25th with championship leader of the bronze category. 26th is Adam Wilson-Weir. Elwyn Sykes in 27th with Mark Kent alongside in 28th. Kurt Van Honecker in 29th with Stein Vatens in 30th. Andy Rooney 31st with Mike Riedner alongside in 32nd. Mark Sykes 33rd with Paul Walsh alongside him, his teammate 34th. Wesley Lewin will start 35th with from Jochen Siegert alongside. Stephen de Gravelia will line up in 37th with Ryan Blackwell in 38th. Jonathan Berry and Craig Tillotson will start on the 20th row with Sammy Ariba and Robert Savage 41st and 42nd. And back of the grid will be Andy Chell and Matt Gatter. 44 car grid here at Interlagos, and we're getting going for this formation lap now. McCluskey, following the pace car, will lead them away to start this 20-minute sprint race. And a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, there is a feature race coming up later on in the night. Around about 9:10 will be that feature race, but we've got this 20-minute sprint race right here, right now. So the drivers will follow the pace car round, and when the pace car peels off, they have to maintain pace car speed until the lights go green. They are not allowed to floor it beforehand. They must remain safety car speed until the lights go green, and if they don't do that, they get a penalty, to my understanding. There's a couple of drivers who have broken that rule this season, but the drivers that know the rules well, have experience in this series, will know what to do for this start. Welcome along if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook or Kick. Please give us a like, follow or subscribe here at NXTGEN Racing to keep an eye on all the racing that we have on this channel. And we hope you enjoy the racing tonight here at this legendary circuit of Interlagos. So here we go, round 8 of the season is about to start. McCluskey leads us towards the line, all the cars starting together, all 44 of them will start in a group together. Safety car peels off. McCluskey will remain safety car speed until the lights go green. And we're away here at Interlagos. Our opening race of the night. McCluskey will guard the inside as we head into turn number 1. And a huge gaggle of cars we head into turn number 1. Trying to battle around the outside. There is Martin Hobson. He's got the inside for turn number 2. But McCluskey's going to hang it to the inside of turn number 3. And it got very close between them two as they headed around the corner. Good start there from McCluskey. Strong and resilient as we headed around those corners. Heading down towards turn number 4. Now we've got Langford trying to challenge on the inside. Stephen Bird swaps to the inside to try and get to the inside of Langford as we go around turn number 4. We have got an instant further back in the grid. Oh, a big pile up here on the main straight. And Papa Constantino, I can see, is involved in that as well. So that was a lot of the bronze category drivers who were caught up in that instant there. And drivers limping away from that while that's happening at the front here, or near the front here. Oh, we got Langford and Bird real close together, wheel to wheel. Bird had the inside going into the next corner, but he hasn't quite hung on to it. Langford powers it around the outside as we head now up to the tight hairpin of turn number 10. Langford hangs on to it. Meanwhile, in the silvers, this is Kyle Oosthuizen, who's mixing it in with the gold category drivers. Get used to it, Kyle, because you're going to be there next season, I guarantee you. But he leads the silver categories at the moment. Meanwhile, because of the bronze category drama, Papa Constantino is no longer leading the bronze category. It's now between Wilson Weir and Switzer, who've got a pretty decent lead in the bronze category over their rivals, with a couple of silver drivers around them. This is good for Wilson Weir's championship, because all his rivals are well down the order at the moment. But at the end of lap 1, McCluskey leads us away. Half a second lead already from Hobson. Hobson, as I mentioned earlier on, will be keen to help his teammate Stephen Bird in the championship to try and hunt down McCluskey and try and help his teammate towards the championship. Potentially, as we've got drivers off here, that is Jamie Dury. We've also got Stefan Wessels off on the side as well. Remember, there's not much grip out there, ladies and gentlemen, because very high track temperatures. Oh, and there's a big crash just up ahead. That's Alan McCain right in front of all the other cars, and somehow they all make it through. Let's just see if we can get a replay of Alan McCain's instant there. I think this is it here. Here's Alan McCain. The car may go sideways at some point. Oh, yeah, or is there contact? Yes, there's contact with Janowski. And that sends him into the tyres. Oh, I think McCain will feel really aggrieved there. He'll feel like he just got rear-ended into the wall. And that'll definitely be one that stewards look at after. But it puts Alan McCain, who I title as one of the most unlucky drivers in Next Gen, puts him in a bad place already in this race. Strong lead already for McCluskey. Stretches out to nearly 9/10 of a second. Stephen Bird will lose a couple of points here, the way things stand. Just gonna get my points on the left-hand screen. I have to refresh my screen to find them again. So yeah, 12 points at the moment scored by Stephen Bird to the 2 extra bonus points. That'll make 20 points for Ben McCluskey. that makes it all the more probable that McCluskey could take the championship tonight. He needs to outscore Stephen Bird by 25 points, remember. And that's tonight. Kyle Oosthuizen mixing it in with Mike Barber. Although he's a silver category driver, he's really matching the pace of the gold drivers around him here. But Matthew Addy is not letting him go by any stretch of the imagination. He is sticking it with Kyle Oosthuizen, and he is not going to back off with trying to fight for a win in this category. He's fighting for a top 3 in the championship as well. He's 4th heading into tonight is Matthew Addy, and he's not too far behind 3rd place Ian Manners, who I believe is not actually racing tonight. So it's a big opportunity for Matthew Addy tonight. Oh, as we got Hobson spun on the inside of the S's there. Dropping position after position. Nigel Stock passes him. Nigel Stock has had an incident earlier on in the race, and that's dropped him down to 9th here, which isn't good for his championship chances. Another lap complete. McCluskey still leads. Not extended his lead from Hobson on this lap, but still in a fairly comfortable spot. Stephen Bird's getting quite close to Langford here. Swaps to the inside. Late braking, got into turn number 1. Very, very diving move from Bird, and he keeps it tight on the apex, and he secures that 3rd place. Brilliant move from Stephen Bird to secure that place. I don't think it's over yet, though. Langford's all over the rear of Stephen Bird as we head onto the back straight here. Quatermass with the driver at the front here, which is great to see from the team that has the most cars in this championship. Langford can't quite make the move on Stephen Bird going into turn number 4. Stephen Bird defended it quite well, but with that battling, it did drop them back a little bit from Martin Hobson. They might be able to make that back, but we will see. It's ultra competitive in this gold category, as you can imagine. Danny Switzer leads in the bronze category at the moment. He is no stranger to winning in the bronze category this season. He won round 1, race 1 of the season, the sprint race at Fuji. Started off the season well, but I would say he's been a bit of a part-timer in the season. He's not been able to contend all the rounds, but when he does turn up, he's got strong pace. Wilson Weir, he'll be conscious that he's in amongst gold and silver drivers here, so he will not want... Oh, as he takes a diving move to the inside of Janowski there. I got a feeling that was half a mistake from Wilson Weir there, but I imagine he's quite tentative in his driving right now because he knows he's going to be in a good spot here for championship points. He's ahead of all his rivals. He will not want that ruined at this point. As he heads up the hill, following the drivers up ahead. We got the gold and silver category drivers, or some of them anyway, trying to recover their races. Jamie Dory's one of them here. 12th position in category, 17th here. He'll be keen to get it back up the order. But remember, ladies and gentlemen, it is the grids will be based on categories. They'll be grouped by categories for the next race. As we see pulling over a bit to the side there. Was that Wilson Weir there? No, it wasn't. It's a back marker, I believe it is. Sammy Ariba, who's just moving to the side then. Nice move there from Mark Kent on the inside of Andy Chell. Andy Chell has started towards the back of the grid. He's actually made good progress. 12 overall places gained. He's up to 31st overall and 7th in category. Yeah, but as I was saying, ladies and gentlemen, the categories are grouped for the grid at the next race, the feature race, and they are reversed from the positions they finish in their category in this race. But it's all very exciting in this sprint race, actually, because it's all mixed together. You've got all the categories battling with one another. Still mixing it in with the gold category drivers, not too far behind. Ben Altria there is Kyle Oosthuizen, and we've got an incident further back. John Berry has had an incident. Now, I believe he's a couple of he is a lap down due to taking fast repairs due to that lap 1 incident, which we will have to take a look at the end of the race, I think. Have a look at that lap 1 incident as we see Stephen Bird passing his teammate, and I got a feeling Papaya rules maybe. We're familiar with that here in Interlagos. Stephen Bird moves into 2nd place, and that'll help him out, and that's Hobson helping out his teammates. Bird can set out after McCluskey, but also it means that Stephen Bird gets the better points from this race. But it is also Yorkshire Mafia Racing who are trying to secure a Teams Championship as well. They were 2nd in the Teams Championship heading into last week, but they dropped to 4th. Oh, and actually we need to switch over because Andy Rooney has had an incident. He's in the pits there, and I think he's had to recover back to the pits. And we got Nigel Stock off on the inside there, right in the middle of the track. Now we got 2 incidents to look at here. Andy Rooney's one of them, and he's one of the main contenders for bronze category. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. That's 2 cars fighting for the same bit of tarmac, and neither of them letting each other have it. I think... I couldn't quite work out who that was on his inside. He was one of the CSA drivers. But we'll take a look at Nigel Stock's incident here. This is at turns number 1 and 2, the Senna S. And that's a Quetemas car on his inside. Oh, that's a tricky one to judge as well. Oh, and good avoidance there from the CSA car. And all Nigel Stock can do there is just sit there and wait for the cars to pass by. He's moving again. He's going to have damage on his car. And he's going to be down a lot of positions. He's actually now in 11th in category. We're not even halfway through this race, ladies and gentlemen, and there's already fireworks going off and plenty of incidents. And remember, it is a very hot track, which means it's a very slippery track. Very low grip track, which means it's difficult for these drivers. And it's only going to get worse and worse as the race goes by. It gets hotter and hotter on the track, and the cars actually don't get that much better as time goes by. These GT3 cars, they're very good for their first 2 laps, and they only become good again on the final 5 laps or so on a fuel tank. And they get nowhere near that in this race. They will in the future race, but not in this race. Oh, we did have a quick retirement there that disappeared from my screen. I think it was Stefan Wessels, actually. It was. He's had an incident. And here he is in the McLaren. Now there's an ECO car just up ahead. Wessel's going to try to the outside. Oh, not enough grip. As he switched over to the marbles, it just sends him off the track and into the tyres. That's the danger this track's having right now. A lot of marbles on the outside, and when you go off the black stuff, as they call it, onto the more grey stuff, there's less grip out there due to the marbles that kick up from the rubber of the tyres. And also there's generally less grip out there because there's less tyre rubber laid down. And that's purely what happened there for Stefan Wessels, and that's out of the race for last week's sprint race winner. But the current potential sprint race winner is Ben McCluskey. Now, let's compare the lap times as they cross the line. They'll pop out of the timing screen now. 33.9 for McCluskey. 33.9 for Bird. Only 0.003 of a second separate these two. It's incredible. Bird's going to have to really push to try and catch up with McCluskey and just try and prevent championship winning potential for McCluskey. Matthew Addy, top 10 here overall at the moment. Very strong performance overall in this race. Is I wouldn't say championship rival, but I would say the category leader, stretching away a little bit right now. But still good points for Matthew Addy, I would say that. And last week's feature race winner sitting 3rd in the sprint race right now. Baz Meacham might well be one of the drivers in this silver category of a what could have been scenario. Has missed a fair few races this season, has Baz Meacham, but has really put in some good performances this season. Danny Switzer still leading the bronze category. He's got a bit of a gap to Adam Wilson-Weir. He's battling with Mark Baker, who passed him on the inside there. Wilson-Weir, I can just kind of tell with the way he's negotiating the traffic here. He's not trying to get stuck into too many battles. He says that as he challenges back on the exit on Mark Baker there, but I just get the feeling that Wilson-Weir is just trying to keep his nose out of trouble. He knows he's in a good place. He knows he's going to score good points out of this race. His nearest rivals in the championship are way down the order. Elwin Sykes, Gabriel Papaconstantino, and Andy Rooney are Wilson-Weir's closest championship rivals, and they're 9th, 10th, and 11th in category. Big opportunity for a big points overhaul for Wilson-Weir, who already leads the championship coming into tonight in this bronze category. This could be, if it keeps going like this, a very pivotal moment in this bronze category in the championship. So we'll keep a cunning eye on it. As we see Mike Barber and Ben Altria battling close there. I think Mike Barber just passed Ben Altria, and that was at turn 4, which is a very conventional overtaking spot, Nice exit from turn 3, it sees to get to the inside, going into turn number 4. Ultra is kind of isolated by there. Did try braking later, but Mike Barber's able to grip it around the corner and get it through. Hobson and Langford will continue battling here for third place for silverware. Hobson, I don't think, has had a top 3 in gold category yet this season. If you're watching on the replay, Martin, and I'm wrong, I apologise. There's a lot of results to remember in this championship. Please don't put me down as a stat book. But these two battling for what could be their first silverware of the season. It definitely is for Langford. He's in his debut tonight, and what a great debut he's having. Welcome to the championship, Harry Langford. We've got all the drivers filtering through here, and they would have settled down into this race now. They'd be sitting down and trying to set the lap times, trying to get a little bit of hope of more positions further up. And actually, I'm going to draw our attention to these three here in 9th, 10th, 11th. This is Ben Bennyworth, Jake Pitt, and Matthew Cheverton. Now, the reason I brought the attention to them three there, if you are familiar with this season, you'll remember last season, these three here had some brilliant battles last season in silver category. They were the three battling for the championship for much of the season long. Ben Bennyworth kind of ran away with it towards the end. But these three had a brilliant battle at Silverstone last season, I remember. And it's good to see them grouped together again. Not quite having the battle like what they had in periods last season. Oh, no, 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 no! Adam Wilson-Weir has spun it at turn number 4. He's only dropped a third, to be fair, in category. But this is what happened heading into turn number 4. I think the car just switches ends. It does. Oh, dear. But I don't think it's compromised him too much when it comes to points. He's dropped 1 place. But it's not going to drop him too many points. He's still in with a good shot here of getting big points on his rivals, who are still 9th, 10th and 11th, to be fair. Close times again between Stephen Bird and McCluskey. McCluskey was slightly slower, only by a 10th. But on the previous lap, I think McCluskey opened it up a little bit. These two are so close. Such fine margins between these two when it comes to track pace. Janowski, newcomer tonight. Involved in an incident earlier on. That was with Alan McCain on this section of the track. But sits 4th in silvers at the moment, so quite a good debut for him. And he's just ahead of bronze category leader Danny Switzer there. Kurt Van Honecker is having a good race here. 2nd place, he took that just then from Adam Wilson-Weir's spin at turn number 4 just a lap ago. So this is a good result for him. Potentially one of his better results of the season. I think he does have a race win to his name this season. We will switch this timing tower here to the positions the drivers finish in their classes, because that's what it comes down to points-wise. But a strong performance in this race, like we mentioned, for Kurt Van Honecker there. We've got G. McLaughlin here, trying to chase down Gaz Williams. Good performance from G. McLaughlin in this round so far. This is a close battle between these three of Jake Pitt, Matthew Cheverton and Baz Meacham. Baz Meacham is in 3rd place in the silvers, and the 2 drivers ahead of him in golds. But when it comes to category to category or differing category battles, you are allowed to go ahead. It's just not recommended that you compromise the races through contact or anything like that to other drivers in category. It's a bit of a gentleman's agreement, I would say, that you respect drivers that are in other categories. But there's no reason why you can't give it a go, I guess. Drivers love having good, hard battles with other drivers as long as it's not too rough and tough. All us drivers love that style of racing where it's nice and clean and enjoyable. So Wilson Weir still in third position here. He has got a fairly healthy gap over fourth Rob Savage, his teammate. But Wilson Weir here has quite a climb to get back to second place. So it's not really likely at the moment as we switch back to Cheverton and Jake Pitt, both teammates of Aztec Racing. And Cheverton, contact with his teammate there. And getting away with him was Jake Pitt. He just kind of got rebounded to the inside of the corner. But these two battling last season, and they're both teammates. Pretty much the kingpins of Aztec Racing. They head up towards turn number 1. Who's going to be the better of the two? And the white flag is waving. That's to indicate the final lap of this race. And McCluskey's on his way potentially to a win. It's come down to below a second now. There's no DRS on these cars, obviously. But it does mean that Bird's pushing hard with a 34.0, which is not the fastest lap of the race. But in fact, the fastest lap of the race is held by... No, it's not. It's Harry Langford. So he'll take the bonus points, will he? No, he won't, sorry. Stephen Bird has the fastest lap of the race, so he'll take a bonus point from this race as it stands. So it'll be 16 points heading out of this race for Stephen Bird, but 19 points for McCluskey. We'll take a bad result / retirement from Stephen Bird for Ben McCluskey to win the championship tonight in the feature race, with things finishing as it stands. But he won't mind that so much because he's about to win this race, and that's more points in his favour in the championship. It's another win to his cabinet. Ben McCluskey wins the sprint race here at Interlagos, and surely that puts him one step closer to the championship. Stephen Bird was second place, maintaining a strong second place in the championship as well, and his teammate crossing the line in third place, making for a big haul of points for Yorkshire Mafia Racing from this race. Kyle Oosthuizen will cross the line first of the silver category, with Matthew Addy, one of his best results, I'd say best races of the season, finishing second in silvers and 10th overall. Baz Meacham, third position in silvers for him. And Danny Switzer crossed the line to win another bronze category sprint race for himself. Kurt Van Honecker will cross the line second place. Another fine result for him. And Adam Wilson-Weir will cross the line third, and I imagine he'll be relieved about that, given the race that he's had. A couple of ups and downs here and there, but third place, a strong haul of points. 13 points for him, and his rivals getting as little as 7, 6 and 5. So it stretches his lead ever more at this point. What an interesting race indeed. And we will go back and look at a replay of the start, because we did have quite the incident at the start of this race further back in the field. So we'll take a look at that once we've reviewed the results of this race. A couple of drivers still finishing the race. In the chat there, supporting the Verano boys. Great drive from Danny Switzer. I completely agree. Brilliant drive from Danny Switzer. He comes back and he whoops everyone in bronze sometimes when he comes back. Very fine driving from Danny in the Mustang. Okay, so we've got some results ready for you, ladies and gentlemen. Gold category will go first by virtue of the overall results. And it's another win for Ben McCluskey by 8.5 tenths from Stephen Bird, who takes another second place for himself. Martin Hobson, his teammate, in third position, making for big points for Yorkshire Mafia Racing from this race. Harry Langford on his debut takes fourth position, a strong performance for him on his debut, with Gaz Williams in fifth position. Jake McClawn in sixth position, with Mike Barber in seventh. Ben Outry in eighth. Ben Bennyworth in ninth, with Jake Pitt rounding off the top 10 in category. Jamie Dory, with drama towards the start of the race, recovers to 11th. Matthew Cheverton is 12th, with Sean Shute in 13th. And a lap or more down is Stefan Wessels and Alan McCain. Silver category now, and it's another win for Kyle Oosthuizen, and it's a strong result in this race, which means that his championship will go much more in the favour of him following this race. Matthew Addy, a strong performance in second place. Not only second place in category, but a top 10 overall, which is a brilliant performance. Baz Meacham in third position, from Danny Janowski on his debut, fourth position. Mark Baker fifth, with Wesley Lewin in sixth position. Paul Walsh, quiet race for him, but seventh place and good points for him. Ryan Blackwell, equally a quiet race, but eighth place for him. Mark Kent in ninth, with Nigel Stock a disappointing 10th, and that will really compromise his championship chances. Mike Reedner in 11th place with a close finish ahead of Aaron Hobson. Mark Sykes in 13th and Jochen Sieg at 14th. And a lap down is Paul Williams and Sammy Ariba. Bronze category, and it's a win for Danny Switzer of Verana Motorsport. 11.6 second gap to Kurt Van Honecker in second position. Adam Wilson-Weir in third position, and that will improve his championship lead heading out of this race on his rivals. Rob Savage, fourth position with Matt Gatter, one of his best results of the season, fifth for him. Stephen de Gravelli on his return after missing a couple of rounds, sixth position with Craig Tillotson in seventh. Elwyn Sykes, eighth position, followed by some of his championship rivals. Andy Chell dropping to ninth, and Gabriel Papaconstantino, who was pole position, is 10th, and he was involved in the lap 1 drama. Andy Rooney is a lap down, likewise with Jonathan Berry and Stein Vatens. So there we go. That is the first race of the night. So let's go back to green flag. And let's get with Gabriel Papaconstantino here, because he's one of the main drivers involved in that incident at the start. That's in a championship battle, I would say. We'll just turn down the noise a little bit on this. So let's just keep a close eye on Gabriel Papaconstantino as things... Oh, go right ahead. And that was a car spinning off to the right there. That was not recorded as an incident. Oh, it was Paul Williams, to excuse me. It was spun off there, but we're trying to keep an eye on this incident here. Now, let's... Oh, that was Papaconstantino getting out of shape there. Into the back of him goes Stein Vatens. Paul Walsh just avoids them there. Papaconstantino faces the wrong way, collects a CSA car, collects Stein Vatens, and that's what causes this mayhem right here. A Quatermass car, nowhere to go there. And then all that happens. Wow, that's a big, big pile-up. And a lot of Quatermass cars in there. It is rather... It's good that they're in the series, but it's also equally... a lot of their cars in the instance just is like, oh. 9 cars in this race tonight for Quatermass. It's great to see, and they won't be pleased that they're involved in that incident early on. And that's the thing. That's the difficulty of starting further back in the pack. You're the first to see all the incidents. And you're right, Katie. It was one of those incidents where people just had nowhere to go. Let's take another replay of it. When it decides to reveal to us. So here we go. Just watch the Lamborghini. There we go. Squirreling sideways. And then the SK racing car goes into the back. I don't know how Paul Walsh avoided that then, but brilliant avoidance from him. And further back, there's an incident just up ahead. That's Mark Sykes in that incident. Right, we'll go back again. So this is Mark Sykes on the inside here. Oh, and a bit of contact with one of the Quatermass cars there. That sends him back. I think that might be Andy Rooney on his right there. And one of the ECO cars slowing down on the side there. It might have been due to the incidents here, but all 3 of them just ended up going for the same piece of tarmac. And it's because there's incidents up ahead, they're not really sure where one another is. They're keeping an eye on themselves. They're keeping an eye on things up front. I would say no avoiding really for a lot of those drivers in that instant, which is really unfortunate. So hopefully they can have better races in the next race. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to head off for a quick break. But when we come back, it will be the feature race. The feature race is a 60-minute race. And remember, the grids will be based off the results of the sprint race we've just had, but they'll be grouped in categories and they'll be reversed from those category results of the sprint race. Join us in a few moments, ladies and gentlemen. For now, enjoy the royalty-free music, of course, and pictures from Benji Sim Photos himself. We'll see you very shortly.
Hello and welcome to NXTGEN Racing, the home of clean and fair sim racing for all. Hello and welcome to Next Gen Racing, the home of clean and fair sim racing for all.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Next Gen Racing, live on YouTube, live on Facebook, and live on Kick. We're back here for round 8 at Interlagos, and the feature race is starting very, very soon. But first, a little bit of housekeeping. This is the GT3 season, hosted on Thursday nights, and we're here at round 8 of the season out of 10, so not long to go. Scan the QR code on the bottom left to get access to Next Gen Racing's Discord. That's if you're a spectator of the series, a fan of Next Gen, or if you want to get involved as a driver in the series, scan the QR code on the bottom left. Alternatively, there is a link in the description of these videos to click on to get access to the Discord server. A big shout out to the partners, sponsors and affiliates of Next Gen Racing that include Powermax Racing, Sam Cases, Benji Sim Photos, Douglas Motorsport, Motorsport UK Esports Division, Falconer PC, Mark Sykes Designs, Joyce Design, Moser Racing and Only Racing. The title sponsors of this series, and the winner of the series will take away £500 of store credits to use at Online Racing. Only Racing. And these are the tracks we're visiting this season. We started off in September at Fuji. Then at the start of October, it was Road America, followed by the first endurance round of the season at Monza. Suzuka hosted round 4, and round 5 was hosted at Catalonia. We had a week off, but then we came back from round 6. It was at the Nordschleife circuit in Germany. And then we ventured further west to Belgium for Zolder last week. But this week we're here in Brazil at Interlagos, the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache circuit. But next week we'll be heading back to Germany for what will be the final sprint and feature race format round of the season, but the penultimate round of the overall season. And that'll be hosted at the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit. the final round in 2 weeks from today, and it will be live, as always, here on YouTube, Facebook, and Kick, and it will be at Daytona Road Course in America, in Florida, for our final round of the championship to see us out of the season and see us towards Christmas, and our 3 champions and a team will be crowned champions. These are the cars we are racing in this series. The prime GT3 cars on iRacing that include Audi R8, the BMW M4, the Chevrolet Corvette, the Ferrari 296, the Ford Mustang, the Lamborghini Huracan, the McLaren 720S, the Mercedes AMG, and the Porsche 911. And of course, there are more GT3 cars coming to iRacing season by season, including the Acura Honda GT3 car, which will be next coming to the GT3 contingent of cars. Back to live pictures at Interlagos, and we've got the feature race coming up in just under 3 minutes' time. And what an interesting sprint race we had just a moment ago, ladies and gentlemen. Our winners of each category were Ben McCluskey, Kyle Oosthuizen, and Danny Switzer. Danny Switzer of the bronze category and Oosthuizen of the silver category. Overall and in gold was Ben McCluskey. Now, what to expect from this race? Well, I'm not too sure, because, well, the thing is with that first race, it might have seemed like the drivers, it might have been a bit of a cluster of collisions and impacts and pile-ups at the start of that race, but actually it only really started with one driver getting out of shape, and then drivers just had nowhere to go. That might be less likely to happen in this race, because each category will be starting grouped together and they'll all be separated by about 3 to 5 seconds. So it's less likely to happen in this race. It's going to be more siloed between the categories, I'd say. Which means for more focused racing for the drivers in their categories to focus on their positions in category, and there's championships, of course. There are drivers in that opening race that really did fall short of the points they perhaps needed in the championship. This being one of them, Elwin Sykes. Now there's others, including Gabriel Papaconstantino, Andy Rooney, Nigel Stock in the silver category. They all lost out on crucial points in this race. And like I said earlier on, it could have been a real pivotal moment in the championship, that race, particularly in bronze category. Particularly in bronze category, because Adam Wilson-Weir scored, I'd say, considerably more points, relatively speaking to the amount of points you can score from the sprint race. And that will put him further ahead in the championship heading out of that race. But there's another race to go now. He'll be starting behind all his rivals as well. And that's the thing. The results they finished within their category in the sprint race, it's all reversed for the grid for this race. But it's a 1 hour race as well, so there's plenty of time to get towards the front, to get in, to get closer to your rivals. And there's also tyre strategies and pit strategies to contend with as well. Now, we should be good for weather-wise. Dry track, slightly cooler, 36 degrees. It's still fairly hot. There'll probably be a little bit more grip for the drivers right now, but we'll see how much that heats up as time goes by in this feature race coming up in a few seconds' time. Thank you very much for watching so far tonight, ladies and gentlemen. It really does mean a lot to myself and the Next Gen Racing organisation. Please give us a like on the channel, on the video. Please give us a follow on these channels as well, and keep an eye on the racing that comes on Next Gen Racing Live TV. We have Touring Car Leagues, we have Formula 4 Leagues, and of course we have this GT3 League. And this GT3 League is about to start its feature race for round 8 of the championship. And we just have to have a little refresh of the overlay here before we get started. But this will be the grid for our feature race. Starting at the front of the gold category will be Alan McCain and Stefan Wessels. Third and fourth will be Sean Shute and Matthew Sheraton, with Jamie Dury and Jake Pitt on the third row. Fourth row taken up by Ben Bennyworth and Ben Alcher, with Mike Barber and G McLaughlin starting on the fifth row. Sixth row taken up by Gaz Williams and Harry Langford. Martin Hobson, third place in the sprint race, will start 13th. Stephen Burrs, second in the championship and second in the sprint race, will start 14th. Now, championship leader, champion-elect maybe? Not too sure. We'll find out. 15th on the grid and at the back of the golds. Silver category now, and it's Sami Ariba in 16th place, starting on pole for them, with Paul Williams in 17th and Jochen Siegert also on the 9th row. Mark Sykes 19th with Aaron Hobson in 20th. Mike Riedner 21st with Nigel Stock in 22nd. Mark Kent 23rd with Ryan Blackwell in 24th. 25th is Paul Walsh, as our thing skips on. 25th with Mark Baker in 26th. Danny Janowski on his debut tonight, 27th with Baz Meacham, who finished 3rd in the Silvers, is 28th. Matthew Addy, 29th, having finished 2nd in the Silvers, with sprint race winner Kyle Oosthuizen will start 20th and at the back of the Silvers. But one, Wesley Lewin will start at the back. Starting at the front of the bronze category will be Stein Vatens with Jonathan Berry in 33rd, Andy Rooney in 34th. Gabriel Papaconstantino will start in 35th with Andy Chell 36th, Elwyn Sykes 37th, Craig Tillotson in 38th, Stephen de Gravelia will start 39th, and on the 20th row also Matt Gatter. Rob Savage 41st with championship leader Adam Wilson-Weir in 42nd, Kurt Van Hoenicker 43rd, and bronze category sprint race winner Danny Switzer starting at the back but in 44th. Nearly ready to go here for this feature race, a 1 hour race coming up, ladies and gentlemen. There will be pit stops, there will be strategies, and it's a long race for these drivers, a longish race I would say for these drivers to get themselves into positions they need. Crucial race in the championship I would say, as we head towards the line here to start this potentially crucial race for the championship. Alan McCain will lead us to the line, and as soon as the lights go green, they can floor it. They're all grouped in their categories. Golds will start first, and away they go towards turn number 1, and the silver category away in the background as well. Likewise with the bronze category. There is an instant in the silver category back there. We'll have to check on that very shortly. But heading into turn number 1, Ben McCluskey keeps it nice and tidy at the back there, not making too many risks too early. Oh, and there is a spin in the silver category in the back there, and they has collected a few cars, Paul Walsh being one of them, and I think Matthew Addy's involved as well. But we've got the bronze category trying to get through here as well, just seeing all the drama unfold before them, and all these drivers are going to be very tentative getting through here. I think Gabriel Papaconstantino has had an instant, and he might be out of this race already. Adam Wilson-Weir, I think, has had a pit lane start, maybe, as he was heading out of the pits there, which is very strange. But we head back towards the front. Alan McCain, first place, leads away from Stefan Wessels. Stefan Wessels, reminder, is a multiple race winner this season, so he's in a good position to try and take an early lead maybe. But Alan McCain is going to put up a big fight, I reckon, right here. Silver category, Ariba still leads from Siegert. Nigel Stock, crucially, up a few places to 4th position. He needed that. He needed a bit of luck getting through that carnage at the start to get himself into this good position. Andy Chell leads the bronze category, and he switched car. He's in the Mustang now. He leads away at the front, and he'll enjoy that. He's due a good result. He hasn't had the top 3 yet in bronze category, so we'll see how he gets on. Leading way at the front, still Alan McCain. Wessels all over the rear behind him, and there's another CSA car of Sean Shute in 3rd place. Diving to the inside is Stefan Wessels, a big diving move, and he takes the lead going into turn number 1. It is incredible watching cars dive to the inside of other cars at turn number 1 there. But fighting back is Alan McCain on the outside here, heading around turn number 3. And he'll go to the outside, heading down to turn number 4, which is not the better line to be on the Desida de Lago. Still chance to the outside, but the better line definitely held by Wessels going through turn number 4 there. But McCain will fight back. Meanwhile, in the silver category, to the inside of Sami Ariba goes Jochen Siegert, and into the lead, and into 2nd place goes Danny Janowski on his debut tonight. It's looking a bit squirrely at the moment for Sami Ariba, who looks to be flustered a little bit in that car. Can't quite fight it back on the 2 just ahead. Nigel Stock right behind though, but Kyle Oosthuizen is through all the drama. He's in 6th place and he's closing in on this pack here. Andy Chell 1st place still. Matt Gatter, his best position so far, I would say, in bronze category in this race. Keep an eye on these drivers as well. Let's just keep an eye on Ben McCluskey as well. He's behind Stephen Bird, whom of which he needs to finish in front. Heading out tonight, he needed to outscore Stephen Bird by 25 points. As it stands, Stephen Bird is doing just enough to take the championship to the next round as he heads to the outside of Ben Bennyworth as we head up to turn number 1 again to start number 3. Bennyworth fights back on the inside. Stephen Bird has to keep it to the outside, but he'll have the better line for turn number 2, and he'll have the position as he heads on to the Curva de Sol. Silver category. Janowski has taken the lead from Jochen Siegert. This is how he did it. This in the final sector, so this will be heading into the Magulo. Oh, Jochen Siegert had to hold the outside there. Janowski just sneaking it to the inside there. Outbraking going into Junkau. And into that position he goes. And Alan McCain can't quite catch him. He's falling down the order faster than the mouse will click. But he's spun here. And we'll find out what's happened to Alan McCain there. His bad luck continues. So this is it. That's Sean Shute behind him. Heading into Ferradura. Oh, he hits the curb and he spins it round. Stamps on the brakes to avoid other cars. He just about avoids Jamie Dory and Ben Bennyworth. And then he got collected as well. He reversed it off the track just to make sure other drives are okay. Danny Janowski leads the silver category. Strong start to his NXTGEN GT3 career. Nigel Stock is into 3rd place. Crucial position for him. He's made it past Sammy Ariba on that lap. Now in the bronze category. This one's a bit up in the air. It's quite hard to figure out what's going on here. Owen Sykes has gone into the pits though. Now, why has Owen Sykes gone into the pits so earlier on? I wonder what's happened to him there. Didn't seem to be any incidents, but that's going to drop him down the order, and he's missed his pit stall as well, just to add to the misery. Missed it by a long way by the looks of it as well. But this will really not help his championship as his rivals pass by. Wilson Weir being one of them. Andy Rooney has passed by as well. Wilson Weir, I noticed, started from the pit lane as well. I just wonder why that was. I just wonder if he did that to purposely avoid the drama at turn number 1, maybe? Maybe. But his only championship rival... In fact, he's got no championship rivals ahead of him. So this is still crucial for this category yet again. Wilson Weir scoring the most points of his rivals. Rooney's behind a few seconds down the road and a few positions. Papa Constantino's behind and a long way behind time-wise. And Owen Sykes is only just exiting the pits now. And that's an off-peak pit stop. So he'll have to do another one, that's for sure. Nigel Stock has made his way past Jochen Siegert into 2nd place. This is how he did it. And it looks like they were actually battling for a little bit longer. So we'll go back a little bit further. So this is heading into turn number 4. Nigel Stock's in the blue, yellow and white Crest Autosport car, and the ECO car with blue, red and white colours, sorry. Is Jochen Siegert, and he made a mistake heading out of turn number 4 there. Lost pace. Nigel Stock goes to the outside of Ferradura here. Siegert fights back, but Nigel Stock is going to hold it to the outside, going into the S's, and round Pinarino here. Nicely done. Good battling between them two, and Nigel Stock goes across the track there just to hold that position into the hairpin. Good battling from them two. Now Kyle Oosthuizen needs to respond to Nigel Stock. He's got the advantage of a lot of points scored in that sprint race. Oh, is getting up to the rear of him there was Jochen Siegert. And he's in a bit of an ECO sandwich here as Mark Baker is right in front of him. Baker in a very good position of 3rd place right now, holding up the championship leader in silvers. Still a lead for Andy Chell in the bronze category. He's cruising behind Sammy Ariba at the moment. But he's got Matt Gatter and Craig Tillotson for close company here. And these three are actually in very good positions right now. Some of the best places they've been in all championship long. So it's a big opportunity for them with a lot of the drivers in bronze category faltering by the wayside, I would say. Struggling at the early part of this race, but it's a long race to go. Jamie Dory going wide at turn number 1 there. Oh, and rejoining right in front of Ben McCluskey, who's going to be held up a little bit. Has the inside, but gets past Jamie Dory. Up into 7th place. Stephen Bird's up in 5th place here. He's doing all he can to keep the championship going into Nürburgring next week. It's highly probable, though, with the way things are, that Ben McCluskey could end up winning the race in the sprint race next week at Nürburgring. Jamie Dory holding it to the inside of Gaz Williams, heading around turn number 5 as we head up to the Ferradura now. To the inside also is Martin Hobson, 3rd place in the sprint race, one of his best results of the season. What can he do in this feature race? He's trying to get past Jamie Dory. Outside here at the Pinerino. Guarding the inside, Ben Altria sneaking to the inside potentially there. And it's quite a difficult track to overtake on. You have to time your acceleration points and your braking to perfection on this track. It can be very rewarding to overtake here at Interlagos, but it can be tricky at the same time. At the front, leading the way, are the CSA drivers. Stefan Wessels with a 3-second lead over teammate Sean Shute. Wessels has won races previously this season. I think he's got 2 race wins to his name. One of them was last week in the sprint race of Zolder. And we've got Langford here. Oh, and a big battle going into turn number 1 between Cheverton, Stephen Bird and Langford. Stephen Bird sneaking into 4th place there, but Cheverton braking later going into turn number 1, holding his position. And Langford drops to 5th place here as Stephen Bird moves up. Heading up to turn number 4. Cheverton stays on his racing line. Stephen Bird popping out of the slipstream. Not going to try and outbrake Cheverton going into turn number 4. We've also got Mike Barber in the Verano Motorsport car lurking as well. But Ben McCluskey is also creeping into this battle. Must say there's some very fine liveries out there on the track. Admiring Cheverton's Mustang-inspired gold Aztec livery there. The Yorkshire Mafia Racing livery is cool. The Quatermass livery is cool. The Verano Motorsport livery changed this season is great. I love yellow, so I like that livery. And the Next Gen liveries are always great. So, compliments to the livery makers of this championship. But is there compliments to the racing we're going to have here? 5-way battle now for 3rd place, headed by Cheverton as we head onto the main straight. Now that Mustang is a big, heavy beast of a car. Is it going to be disadvantaged here compared to the Ferrari of Stephen Bird? Let's see as they head towards turn number 1. Guarding the inside is Cheverton. He's going to force Stephen Bird to the outside. He does so. He's going to come back across to try and take as wide a line as he can into turn number 1. But Stephen Bird is really late on the brakes going into that corner. And he'll have the inside for turn number 2. But will Cheverton hold it? Yes, he will. And sneak into the inside. Through into 4th place goes Langford with a brilliant opportunistic move. And a great exit has got him to the inside of Cheverton. So we head towards turn number 4 now. Oh no, there's contact between the two and they make the spin. They're going into turn number 4, but they keep it going. Langford stays there and Stephen Bird has gone wide as well. Oh, big drama here in the gold category. McCluskey moves into 3rd place with it all kicking off here. And the gold category is quite hard to follow actually, but Langford drops down. Stephen Bird has dropped down. He's dropping down even more actually. Has he got damage? Has he got damage? I think he may have. Either that or it's a slowdown penalty that he was just trying to shake off. Let's see if we can get a quick replay of what happened there, because that was very, very close to a major incident. So contact between Langford and Cheverton. And it takes off the front bumper of Langford. And there we go. Mike Barber just heads off the track there. We'll get another shot of that. And more contact between Langford and Cheverton as well. Oh, Stephen Bird and Mike Barber there. It might actually have been Stephen Bird dropping back a while ago. No, he's heading into pits. I think he's got damage. Langford's got damage, obviously. But this might... I don't think this will be an off-peak pit stop. I think they'll be able to refuel to 100% and they'll be able to take it to the end. So this will just mean that Stephen Bird will have to go long on fuel. He won't need to save, I presume. this puts things in very, very big risk of a championship swing towards Ben McCluskey. Now, we'll have to figure it on later on in the race. But remember what I said. Ben McCluskey had to outscore Stephen Bird by 25 points tonight to win the championship tonight. And if I can find my notes, there we go. Needed a 98-point lead, and heading out of race number 1, he outscored by 3 points, so it's 22-point gap he needs in this race. So I'll monitor as much as I can while I'm yapping away to you guys, and doing maths in my head. This could be very interesting. Langford's back out on the track. Likewise, Stephen Bird. Oh, and there was an incident just up ahead of Stephen Bird there. Couldn't quite tell who it was, but Matt Gatter and Craig Tillotson have dropped down the order. They're 7th and 8th now in bronze category, whereas they were 2nd and 3rd previously. Bronze category. Andy Chell still leads. He has not yet won a race in bronze category. Excuse me. Both this season and last season. So this is looking very, very good for him at the moment. A 5-second gap over Danny Switzer, who's the sprint race winner. Now, if he can make a double victory tonight, that'd be impressive from Danny Switzer. Adam Wilson-Weir is in 3rd place. Now, he is championship leader in bronze category. And it'd be an even bigger gap out of the sprint race. And as things stand, an even bigger gap after this feature race. His rivals are down as far as 9th is his nearest rival. So he's in a good position, not to put one hand on the trophy, but to get himself closer to that trophy than others are. And this is the thing, at the start of the season, if you were to put money on the bronze category champion by the end of it, you probably would have picked maybe the likes of Andy Rooney, Gabriel Constantino, who have been battling in that championship all the way, to be fair. And we'll come back to this very shortly. Finish what I was saying just then. But Adam Wilson-Weir wasn't one of the quickest bronze drivers at the start of the season, and now he is. Now let's go back and check this, because Kyle Oosthuizen and Nigel Stock here. Now Nigel Stock is just ahead of one of the Verano cars. I think that's Mike Barber. Oh, and Nigel Stock spins it heading out of the Aguila corner. And that lets through Kyle Oosthuizen into 2nd place. And Kyle Oosthuizen will know at this point that he has put his grasp back on that championship lead quite firmly now with tonight's racing. 2nd place and a win in the sprint race. If he can catch up with Danny Janowski, who's having a bash with Gene McLaughlin at the moment, that might help Kyle Oosthuizen even more. Let's just have another check of that incident between Danny Janowski and Gene McLaughlin. So that's heading out of Ferradura. We're heading into it now, and diving to the inside there was Janowski, and trying to avoid there a little bit was McLaughlin, giving him some space. Big dive to the inside. And I just have a feeling that Gene McLaughlin didn't quite know until too late that Janowski was there. Okay, back with the gold category. Commanding lead from Stefan Wessels here. Just going to try and count how many race wins he's had this season. I think it's 2. He won the sprint race last time out, at Interlagos. And I think he won a race at Catalonia. I believe. So this could be his 3rd win of the season. very, very big lead at the moment. Sean Schutz, just a 2-second gap to Ben McCluskey now, who, if he can move into second place, further helps his championship bid. There's been a lot of real breakthrough drives tonight from the championship leaders in various categories, as we see a spin here from Martin Hobson. Third place in the sprint race. Oh, similar to McCain, hits the inside curb of Ferradura, and it spins him round, and it's contact from Gaz Williams, and that's going to be big damage to Gaz Williams and Martin Hobson. And actually Gaz Williams is struggling here to get it back to the pit. He'll have heavy damage on that car. He's going to have to take a fast repair, and it'll be his pit stop whilst touring towards the pit lane here. Martin Hobson, a third place in that sprint race. Strong performance from him. He'll have damage on the car. Will he take it to the pits now? He will. It looked like he creeped over the white line a little bit there. I'm not sure if it's going to book him for that, but we'll see. Him and Gaz Williams, both in the pits to take fast repairs. Now, I imagine where Stephen Bird will end up relative to them gives a good indicator of how much time Gaz Williams and Martin Hobson lost. It's looking probable that Stephen Bird will pass them quite a way, and he does so now, whilst Gaz Williams still in the pits. Wilson Weir's dropped a few places here. He's down to 6th place here. I'm just going to see if anything's happened to him while we were looking elsewhere. Yes. So Adam Wilson Weir's had an incident. At this point, I think he was in 3rd in category. And this is heading up towards the final corner of Juncker, and it just spins round on him. And he loses a lot of positions. He's had to let a lot of cars pass there. He does rejoin the track fairly safely, but that would have let by the likes of Stein Vatens, Kurt Van Hoorneke and Rob Savage. So he's got a lot of work to do to get those positions back. He had a spin in the sprint race as well, so it's just wondering if a little bit of pressure might be getting to Adam. Maybe, but it is very difficult conditions out there, a very hot track. It's 34 degrees right now, which is cooler than it was in the sprint race, but it's still fairly hot, which means it's very, very little grip for these drivers. That's the way it works on iRacing. The higher the temperature, the less grip there is. It can often feel, the hotter it gets, it can sometimes end up having a bit of a feeling like it's driving in the wet. That's how bad it can get. But speaking of bronze category, still a lead for Andy Chell at the moment, but that lead is being slashed at the moment as Danny Switzer, flying at the moment, is in 2nd place, gaining on Andy Chell. Following behind Sammy Ariba in the silver category here, and I think Sammy Ariba's trying to protect his teammates a little bit there, but Danny Switzer goes to the inside. Classic move into turn number 4 there. Takes the overall position and now has a straight line of sight towards Andy Chell, who's just 3 seconds up the road. Oosthuizen is alone here, 4.5 seconds behind Janowski, 4.5 seconds ahead of closest rival, Nigel Stock, who himself is in a little bit of a battle with Mark Baker behind him. And around the pit stops probably won't be coming for another 5 to 15 minutes in this race. We've got Ben McCluskey here, very close to Sean Schutz, and this is a move for 2nd place in the race. Side by side into the corner. Sean Schutz hanging on to it, and McCluskey will have to tuck back in behind and take a good exit through turn number 3 here to try and move at turn number 4. Good defending from Sean Schutz. But is it enough? Turn number 4 coming up. Having the inside into this corner and later on the brakes is very advantageous, but McCluskey couldn't do it. Sean Schutz stays ahead. Up towards Ferradura will go now. Looking all ways, it's McCluskey, keen to get himself into 2nd place. All wide a little bit there from Sean Schutz as we head into the S's. Through the long left-hander of the Pinarino. Up to the hairpin. I think McCluskey will save himself maybe for turn number 1 on the next lap, if an opportunity doesn't arise here. Potentially into Young Cow. Not quite. So he'll power it around the exit of this corner here, because Sean Sugar goes a little bit wide there, and actually McCluskey could end up getting it done before turn number 1. He's on the inside already. Tight on the inside there. Trying to take the shortest line through this flat out section. And he's definitely got himself in front there. McCluskey takes second place. It took him a lap to do it, but it doesn't matter. He's done it. He's through and into second place. He's got a 7.5 second gap to Stefan Wessels up ahead. A big gap. Can he close it? I'm not too sure, because Stefan Wessels is definitely no slouch. A previous race winner in this series. And currently holds fastest lap of the race, I believe. Which is bonus points. It's a bonus point in the feature race. Meanwhile, in silver category, Janowski still leads. 4.5 second gap to Kyle Oosthuizen. Not too far behind, really. Kyle can respond and try and get himself another win tonight. It is potential that there could be 3 double winners tonight. If you think about it, if McCluskey can close in on Wessels, if Oosthuizen can close in on Janowski, and if Switzer can close in and pass Chell, double winners tonight is looking probable. Highly likely indeed. Now Switzer is probably the closest to gaining position at here. He is gaining on Andy Chell. 2 Mustangs can be fighting it out for the lead of the bronze category. Andy Chell hasn't been on the podium all season. He's been really determined to get it, and at the moment he's in a good spot to get that. He's got good pace, and maybe he's better suited to that Mustang than the Corvette, actually. We'll speak to him after. I do owe him an interview, because we didn't interview him last time. So he'll tell us about the Mustang, maybe. He's getting closer and closer, and actually half a second quicker on that last lap was Switzer over Chell. It's good to see that the Mustang performs quite well amongst these GT3s. Quite a lot of them represented in this series. Mike Barber races it, of course, for Verana Motorsport. Matthew Cheverton we saw earlier on for Aztec. Andy Chell's now driving the Mustang. Danny Switzer's been driving it all season. Mark Kent for Full Tilt is driving the Mustang. Paul Walsh, of course, for Next Gen Racing. It'd be, if I was to take part in this series, it would either be the Mustang or the BMW that I would drive. I'd consider the Porsche as well, because I know it's quite a likeable car. Never driven it myself. I've only actually driven the Mustang, the older 488 Ferraris, and of course the BMW's the one I've driven the most. None of the other cars I've actually driven, so I don't really know what they're like. As Andy Chell goes wide, and that is definitely going to give up the lead to Danny Switzer. A mistake from Andy Chell, and it relinquishes the lead. Switzer takes the lead, and he's well and truly on his way to a maximum point round tonight as it stands. Holds the fastest lap of the category at the moment. Andy Chell, will he fight back on this? Oh, he's going to give it a go. Oh, Danny Switzer has to avoid that. And back nose ahead is Andy Chell, but side by side going through turn 3. He's not going to give it up. Danny Switzer hasn't quite got it back just yet. Down towards turn number 4. The latest of the late breakers is going to take this, I reckon. So here we go, side by side, the 2 Mustangs. Verana versus Quatermass. Into the corner they go. Andy Chell retakes it, but a nice undercut there from Danny Switzer as we go through turn number 5. But Andy Chell will have the inside for Ferradura just up the hill here. Into the corner. Oh, Switzer hangs it round the outside. And back in front goes Andy Chell. Brilliant battling from these two drivers. Not much contact, if at all. If my eyes haven't mistaken me. But Andy Chell not giving that up. Straight back ahead. Despite the mistake, he remained composed. And got that move back. Probably one of the better moves off the night, I would say, from Andy Chell there. That was brilliant. But let's see what happens on this time around. Andy Rooney's had an incident. And he's jumped to the pits, Andy Rooney has. Andy Rooney's out of this race. There'll be no points for him in this feature race. That puts his championship chances in doubt. We'll come to that very shortly. We'll see what happened to Andy Rooney. But we're just going to keep an eye on this for now. At least until Ferradura. Oh, and he definitely thought about it. Danny Switzer definitely thought of a responsive move like to what Andy Chell did on the previous lap, but couldn't quite make it work. There's a couple of bronze drivers in the pits. Van Honecker and Savage are in the pits. Towards turn number 4, Switzer's got a good run here. Is he going to outbrake Chell? Yes, he is. Brilliant late braking move. And through he goes. This is advantage Switzer right now because responding at this point in the track is going to be very difficult for Chell to do. Switzer takes the lead. But what can Andy Chell respond with on these couple of corners and potentially the back straight? That was brilliant battling for a lap and a half between these two. Andy Chell's losing the tail a little bit here, still within a couple of tenths. But Switzer is definitely the fastest bronze driver on the track at the moment. A couple of more drivers in the pits, by the way. Sean Shute, Jamie Dory and Ben Altria. So the pit stops are coming around as Andy Chell gets a bit loose heading out of the final corner there. We are just over halfway through this race. Now we're just going to go to that incident for Andy Rooney. He's out of this race now, and this is what happened. That's Papa Constantino on his inside. Through he goes, the Lamborghini. Rooney goes wide. And it spins round as he puts it on the curb. And that is definitely race over. Such a shame from Andy. It's definitely going to impact the championship for him. With considering drop rounds as well, it will have to see how it affects akin to that. But I guess we'll find out now. Danny Switzer has just taken the lead, but he's given back up that lead as Andy Chell takes it back. Danny Switzer's in the pits taking on fuel. His scheduled pit stop for the race. But there's a lot of drivers who haven't yet pitted. And they're running at the front at the moment. That's Stefan Wessels, Ben McCluskey, and speaking of which, Stefan Wessels takes to the pits. What about Ben McCluskey? He's in the pits. Now this will be crunch time for the stoppages for all these drivers. Now Stephen Bird's one driver we need to keep an eye on. He's circling around Sean Shute here, who's taken his stop already, and Sean Shute was third place. So Stephen Bird is definitely hovering around a podium spot still in this race. Let's see how he gets on relative to McCluskey. Still in his box. What about Stefan Wessels? He's on the ground. He's moving away again. And he'll exit the pits. This is Stephen Bird exiting the final corner, following Sean Shute all the way along. And McCluskey's already out. Now he's got to get around these few corners here. He's definitely ahead of Stephen Bird, who's in 4th place now, it's confirmed. But he's a long way behind McCluskey due to what happened earlier on in the race for Bird. The incident that led to him going off and slowing down a lot at this corner earlier on in the race. But McCluskey doesn't have Stephen Bird to worry about. He can just focus on either finishing second or trying to catch up with first place here. The pit stop's out of the way, so McCluskey just needs to get the job done here. It won't be championship win tonight, but it will likely be next week. And next week is our 9th round of the championship. That's at Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit. I believe it's the full layout with the Mercedes arena. I'm not sure which variation of the chicane we'll use, but it'll be pretty much the full circuit of the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit. That's our penultimate round of the season. It's the final round of the season where we're going to be using the sprint and feature race format, because the final race of the season is a singular 2-hour endurance race. And that's at Daytona. So the final 3 rounds of the championship today, next week, and the week after. And I still don't quite know what's on the horizon for a potential Season 7 for next-gen GT3s or next-gen Thursday nights. I don't quite know yet. I'll have to chase up Gaz and the boys for that after this race. But as soon as we find out, we'll let you know, ladies and gentlemen. Keep an eye on all the socials as well for all of that information. Facebook, Twitter, X, Instagram, etc. I can't get used to it being Twitter either. As we see Oosthuizen and Cheverton side by side. Real close going around turn number 3 there. Cheverton not giving much room to Oosthuizen on the inside there. As he moves into 9th place overall, does Oosthuizen. 2nd place in category. Not giving it up though is Cheverton in the Mustang. Powering it around the outside there. And he'll have the inside for the next corner. And they get very close, these two do. But it's good racing. Powering around the outside. Oosthuizen's not giving it up. But you'll have to here. You have to try again at another corner. As he dives to the inside of Cheverton. Bit of contact between the two. But somehow they both keep it going. Lurking behind is Martin Hobson, Jamie Dorian, Harry Langford. Waiting to pounce on this battle that's slowing themselves up. Very interesting battle between these two drivers, and it will continue on this lap. Now, fastest laps creeping in. Stefan Wessel set the fast lap of the race, but responded with a lap a 10th quicker. Ben McCluskey. And that's bonus points for him. Coming out of this race, it'd be 23 points, plus the 19 he would have got from the first race. Like I said, gives him plenty of chance to secure in the sprint race next week a win in the championship. If not the sprint race, definitely the feature race next week. Heading out of next week, he'll only need more than a 52-point gap, which is highly likely the way things are going. Back to this battle. Kyle Oosthuizen's back in front of Matthew Cheverton. We'll get a replay of that. We've gone to the wrong one there, so we'll go to... I think that was actually the previous lap, so we'll get it, we'll find it. So there we go, this is on the main straight, and I think they've actually still swapping positions still, ladies and gentlemen, so we'll watch them for a little bit here. Dives to the inside, big brave move to the inside there. Oh, and a little bit of contact between the two. Kyle Oosthuizen gets in front, but it's not such a good exit from turn number 2 there by the looks of it. Cheverton hasn't quite gained yet. We'll stick with this. Very late on the brakes there is Cheverton as we go into turn number 4. Something must happen to Oosthuizen here. If they end up swapping positions again. Dive into this. Oh wow, big dive from Cheverton there. Might have been a bit of a response from the previous lap, but straight back in front, and Kyle Oosthuizen had to really avoid that then. And Hobson's got the inside going into the hairpin here. Oh wow, incredible. Bit of contact, but plenty of battling for them. And this has turned into a 5-car battle. Cheverton still heads the battle here, but G McLaughlin has joined it. He's had an instant, he's dropped down a few places, and he rejoins in this battle here. This is what happens to Gene McLaughlin. Don't want to miss too much of that battling potentially back there. There's a Quatermass car there as well. Oh, there we go. side to side. Round he goes. He has to recover it back onto the track. Potentially 6 cars involved in this because Harry Langford's there as well. That's Baz Meacham in the background, but he is a lap down from this battle. But it's Cheverton who still heads this battle here. With a big lunging move going into the S's on the previous lap on Kyle Oosthuizen. And like I said, Kyle Oosthuizen might have to get used to this battling here in the gold category, because he might end up being in the gold category in a future season of Next Gen Racing. The way his pace has been and the way it's improved actually this season as well. Let's also give credit to the current silver category leader at this race, Janowski. 5th place overall. First place in category, a brilliant debut for him. He's got Ben Bennyworth and Mike Barber right behind him. Bennyworth with another strong performance tonight. Zolder was really good for him, and here tonight, as I think he switched over to the Porsche from the Chevrolet Corvette, I think. It's definitely helping him out. He's 5th place in the category at the moment, battling with Verano Motorsports' Mike Barber. Close here between all of these cars. Look how close they are getting to one another. There's a crocodile of cars. 6 cars battling for 8th place overall. Out of the final corner. That's the cars in the rearward view of Cheverton. 20 minutes to go in this race as well, so we're into the final third. And gaining is that Ferrari just behind there. Might it be a move from Martin Hobson? He's going to dive to the inside, but we already know that Cheverton is very late on the brakes around here as he stays in front of Hobson going into turn number 1. But we've got turn number 4, which is a very highly likely overtaking spot for Hobson here if he can get a good slipstream down the straight here. Guarding inside is Cheverton. He's not letting him have it so easy. Does just enough there, but he runs a little bit wide on the exit of turn number 4. But Hobson gets out of shape as well, and Gene McClawn to the outside. He'll have the inside going up to turn number 6. And through he goes. Does the American driver. And he can perhaps pounce on Matthew Cheverton just up ahead here. McClawn had to guard the inside there just to make sure that Hobson didn't respond. With a late move going into the S's. All this while Kyle Oosthuizen of the silver category is just in the middle, lurking in this battle. He's got Jamie Dory and Harry Langford just behind as well. But this is brilliant defending from Cheverton here. We've seen a lot of this, hard defending driving from Cheverton this season. That big wide Mustang must be helping as well. Rearward view again from the Aztec racing car. We've got a bit of a breathing space at the moment as Gene McClawn made that move on Hobson. Just keep an eye on the standings up there, ladies and gentlemen, because Ben McCluskey is actually gaining on Stefan Wessels. I don't know if it's enough to potentially challenge for the lead later in the race, he says. But we'll have to keep an eye on it. Side by side between Hobson and Oosthuizen. Hobson's definitely got the better line of the two, but Oosthuizen gets it in front on the straight there, and he gains up into the top 10 overall. But let's also... well, let's just keep an eye on this for a second. Martin Hobson trying to the outside of Oosthuizen, who's going to have to guard the inside going into the S's. He keeps it nice and tuck on the apex there. But it's a big dive from Hobson. There's contact between the two. Round goes Hobson. Oh, and he rejoins right in front of Baz Meacham, who collects him and loses his bumper. Let's get another shot of that. That was, oh dear, that was a big, big move from Hobson. So there we go. Kyle goes a little bit wide, hanging out of the corner there. He goes over the curb, as you can see there. A big dive from Hobson. One could probably argue he might have been too late to the inside of him there. Others would argue otherwise. But Hobson has had to take to the pits. That's definitely given him too much damage, and he has to take a fast repair, or even there's a jump to the pits actually, so he'll have to tow it back to the pits, and that'll be it for now for Martin Hobson. You've got to say, Kyle Oosthuizen has definitely got away with one there, because there might be a bit of damage to the car, but he didn't get taken out of the race there. He's dropped back a bit from McLaughlin and Shepperton. And this is the danger, see. This is the danger with drivers in other categories battling with other drivers in other categories. You can each compromise each other's race potentially if you're not too careful. No idea really who's to blame for that incident. We've only had a quick flash at that incident. But it'll certainly be a talking point for the stewards, I reckon, after tonight. Sorry to hear, Mark Kent, that you're out of the race. In the YouTube comments there, out of this race, unfortunately. Your asthma playing up. So is mine. It's the time of year where my asthma plays up as well. And it's quite a struggle right now, I'm just going to say. Now, we go back to the bronze category here, as Danny Switzer has had to retake the lead from Andy Chell, and this is how he did it not too long ago. Danny Switzer is probably getting fed up of that Quatermass painted Mustang right in front of him. Oh, a bad exit from Andy Chell, gets out of shape, and that's easy pickings for Danny Switzer to take back the lead. But you've got to hand it to him. Andy Chell is not letting this go. He's trying his guts out to be in that first place in bronze category. Now, something else to think about. Wilson Weir's down in 9th place, and he was looking pretty good for some big points from this race. But actually, his rivals, Papa Constantino and Elwin Sykes, are 3rd and 4th at the moment. Now, I think they had unscheduled pit stops at the start of the race. So we need to keep an eye on that later on in the race. Have to keep an eye on that later in the race. We'll have to see if they take another pit stop. Let me just remind myself, actually. We'll see it on here. The pit lap for all the drivers. Papa Constantino, yeah, lap 1 and lap 3 for Elwin Sykes. They'll have to take another pit stop. So that really does favour Adam Wilson Weir. He'll be able to get back in front of them and score more points on his rivals. And Wilson Weir's had an incident, and we might have just missed it by a few seconds then. Yeah, going wide there and spinning. He was off track, and that's what sent it sideways. It's been a bit of a struggle night for Wilson Weir, actually, the championship leader of the bronze category. There's been a couple of spins here and there, but he's still doing well, relative pace-wise and position-wise in the races here. Not in this race, not as good as the sprint race, definitely for certain, but he's still in the running for good positions. Now back to this bronze category battle. Well, it's not so much a battle anymore. Chell has dropped back 2.5 seconds, and actually, he's in danger of losing second place to Gabriel Papaconstantino. Now, Chell will be, I think in Chell's head, he'd be very keen to keep it in front of Papaconstantino as long as possible, because Chell will be helping out 2 of his teammates, Andy Rooney and Wilson Weir, if he can keep it in front of Papaconstantino and prevent the Cypriot driver from scoring more points on his rivals. But also, Papaconstantino does need to pit again. In fact, I think his pit stop will be coming up very, very shortly, as we have less than 13 minutes to go in this race. But Papaconstantino, there's no reason why he can't just keep charging towards the end. But actually, I say that about the pit stops and Wilson Weir down in 9th place. Papaconstantino and Sykes won't need to be in the pits for very long. They won't need tyres, definitely not. They'll just need a splash and dash, as it's referred to, because they would have filled up the tank earlier on in the race. So it may well just be a splash and dash for both of those drivers. Definitely Papa Constantino. Maybe for Elwin Sykes. So they won't actually lose that much time. They will lose positions because the bronze category grid are not that far apart from one another. He might drop Papa Constantino to 8th as he goes to the inside potentially on Chell, but he decides to back out of it and will try again potentially at the end of this straight here. A bit out of shape as he goes over the curbs, heading out of the final corner of Junkao. He's going to move around the track to try and time his slipstream on Andy Chell here just right so he can make a move into turn number 1. Actually, he might be too far back. Andy Chell has done enough potentially here to keep it in second place. Meanwhile, we've got a nice battle here between Ben Bennyworth and Mike Barber kicking off. More Quatermass cars stealing the limelight here as Mike Barber moves into 5th place in category. We've got Sean Shute off the track here, and that gives Stephen Bird 3rd place. Now, this is what happened. Stephen Bird right behind Sean Shute here. And as we go through the Gulo here, yep, the rear end just swaps ends and you can't save it at that point. And that gives up 4th place, and actually 3rd place, and that gives up 4th place overall as well as Danny Janowski. 1st place in silvers, 4th place overall right here. What a performance in this race has been from Danny Janowski. On his debut as well. Oh no, and Sean Shute trying to make a move. Spins it sideways. Not quite a full spin, but he keeps it going. He drops more places. Mike Barber and Ben Bennyworth pass him. Both for 4th and 5th. And Bennyworth's going to try another move potentially on Mike Barber at the end of this straight. Let's see what happens here. Does he duck out and make a move? No, he doesn't. He'll try again for another corner, potentially later. We've also got more Quatermass cars, everyone. We've got Gabriel Papa Constantino lurking around Andy Chell. Elwin Sykes is not too far behind either. So if these two up here start battling, that welcomes Elwin Sykes to the party. Now, I do wonder if Papa Constantino is backing off, actually, to try and save fuel so we can make it to the end. Now, refer you to our lengthy little side note here, where you see the starting fuel load of these cars is 80% and the maximum fuel load is 100%. I often calculate that 100% here can do around about 55 minutes. So I might have actually been wrong in my commentary a moment ago. Papa Constantino might actually be able to get to the end. And I have a feeling that might be what he's trying to do here. Save a little bit of fuel. Sit in the slipstream, which also saves fuel. Use higher gears, brake and coast earlier. All those techniques to save fuel. It's very effective in iRacing to use those techniques. But tri-line fever, as us Welsh people like to refer to it as, Papa Constantino will want 2nd place, and he's getting very close to Andy Chell yet again. Oh, he's getting very, very close to slipping the car sideways and off, heading out the final corner, and that drops him back further from Andy Chell, and that tells me that Papa Constantino is pushing. That tells me he's not saving fuel either. Danny Switzer's not stretching away actually either. It's getting fairly closer. Well, no, it's fairly close times between Switzer and Andy Chell here. And actually, Kyle Oosthuizen is facing the wrong way. An instant for him. Here's what happened. He was battling with Jamie Dory. No, sorry, he was battling with Cheverton. Oh, contact from Cheverton. That sends the silver leader round. Sorry, the silver 2nd place driver round. Now that's not going to be too much damage. I don't think he's going to have to worry about that. But Nigel Stock's not too far behind, and if Kyle Oosthuizen has damage, will that slow him down? Nigel Stock might be able to get points back on his championship rival yet. He's done well to get himself back into 3rd place in this race here, has Nigel Stock. Despite the disappointing sprint race, he has a shot at getting points back on his championship rival, who's right there ahead of him. Plenty to keep an eye on at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. There's Gaz Williams lurking around Oosthuizen here. Williams also trying to recover his race. He's got third in the championship he needs to hang on to as well. Mike Barber will be lurking in as well, in fourth in the championship. So Gaz Williams has got to be really careful about that top 3 spot. It's getting fairly close, the top 3 here for bronze category. Andy Chell is closing in on Danny Switzer here. And Papa Constantino is there. And Elwin Sykes is lurking around. A 4-way battle potentially in this bronze category in the closing moments of this race here at Interlagos. Silver category is pretty much sewn up as a big lead from Danny Janowski. Nigel Stock has been given a get out of jail free card. Mind you, he's got 2 cars. One of them a back marker, albeit, between him and Kyle Oosthuizen. Bronze category close together. There's Andy Chell. And that's Papa Constantino in the Lamborghini as well. And Elwin Sykes in the McLaren, lurking around this battle as well. Andy Chell has really picked up the pace in the last few moments. He's less than half a second behind Danny Switzer. I just wonder if Danny Switzer's saving a little bit of fuel. You can do that, to be honest. You can put too little amount of fuel in your car to try and save the seconds in the pit stop. No drivers in the bronze category ducked down into the pits like we thought they would at this point. Into turn number 1. It's close between all these 3. Andy Chell charges to the inside. He has a nose to the inside, and Danny Switzer does very well to avoid turning in on Andy Chell there. Close between these 3 as we head round to the back straight. Andy Chell is not frightened of making a big lunging move as we head towards turn number 4. Oh, don't do it there. Don't do it there. It's so close. Andy Chell also needs to be patient. He's got time. He's got a little bit of time. He's also got to be wary of the cars behind him. Papa Constantino will know. Oh no, Andy Chell's pushed it too hard going into Ferradura. Papa Constantino's going to move into second place here. Or will he? Because Andy Chell's late on the brakes. He'll have the inside for the next corner. Oh, it's close between them 2 and sideways goes Chell. That's going to drop into 4th place. Oh, in a matter of a few corners, it's all gone wrong for Andy Chell and he's off the podium. Switzer's been given a bit of a breather here, but Papa Constantino is going to be lurking around. Papa Constantino will see the win in sight and point back on his rivals. Danny Switzer, can he hang on to it? Potentially a double win. Stock is close to Oosthuizen still. Now let's just check in on fastest laps. McCluskey will get the bonus points. Janowski in the silvers, but Switzer in this bronze category. So potentially a maximum points round for Switzer if he can hang on to this. Papa Constantino is so close. I'm keeping an eye on the time between Oosthuizen and Stock as well, because that's another key battle to keep an eye on. But this is all swings and roundabouts for the championship in this bronze category in particular. I have no idea who's going to be leading the championship in bronze category after tonight. It could be Sykes, Papa Constantino, or Wilson Ware. I have no idea. I suppose we might find out if Paul Williams are our resident NXTGEN points calculator. Don't know the technical term for that. Mathematician, maybe. Potentially we'll do it after the race for us. Let's hope. Fingers crossed, everyone. We are just going to turn our attention quickly to other drivers in this race. Wessel's on his way to a 3rd win this season. Not too far behind. McCluskey hasn't had enough time to close in on Wessels. but it would be another big finish and one hand on the trophy, potentially achieving it next week. Will Ben McCluskey. Silver category, it's going to be a win, and a very impressive win for Danny Janowski on his debut tonight, a feature race win. A long way clear of his silver rivals. Oosthuizen is still under threat from Nigel Stock. But Nigel Stock has got Gaz Williams between him and Oosthuizen, so that's really not going to help him. And in the bronze category, it's Switzer versus Papa Constantino versus Sykes. Papa Constantino looking. When you're sitting... Oh, he goes wide there. It's going to be an off-track, potentially not a slowdown penalty. It'll cost him a little bit of time, though. Time of which he'll have to make back in these final moments in this race. It's unclear if Wessels is on his final lap here as he goes a bit wide there, going around his teammate there. But he makes it through. He could well be on his way to another win. Nigel Stock probably could have plotted an attack on Oosthuizen here, but Gaz Williams in the way of him there has not helped things for him. But Oosthuizen will still extend his lead in the championship tonight as things stand, and that's what matters to him. We're just going to quickly take a look here as Papa Constantino is looking all ways. And we'll come back to that because we have our gold category winner pretty much from lights to flag. Stefan Wessels takes the win in gold category, his third win of the season. And Ben McCluskey, one hand on the trophy. It could happen next week. Second place for him in this feature race. And Stephen Bird is going to come across the line in third place. A strong performance from him again tonight. And one hand on that silver trophy, I would say, for the gold category. Janowski comes across the line and he'll be the winner of the silver category in the feature race on his debut. Very impressive drive. Fast drive in that feature race. Kyle Oosthuizen might well be safe, but we're going to turn our attention very quickly here. I think we can turn our attention back. But it was Papa Constantino trying a move on Switzer just then. But Oosthuizen comes across the line in second and will extend his championship lead over Nigel Stock with a great recovery drive in that feature race, but will come through third place. And that'll be one hand on second place for Nigel Stock, but first place might be stretching a little bit out of reach at this point. Oh, and wide there goes Papa Constantino. He might be in trouble from Elwin Sykes, but that might well give the win here in the bronze category to Danny Switzer. And it will be a maximum points round for Danny Switzer in the bronze category. And a photo finish here between Papa Constantino and Elwin Sykes. But it is Papa Constantino who gets across the line first of the two. And it was only a gap of 0.07 of a second between Papa Constantino and Sykes across the line. What a race we've just witnessed, ladies and gentlemen. Brilliant battling all across the field. Fantastic. And we are going to go straight to the results here, ladies and gentlemen, because we've had them through. And we'll start with the gold category. A win from Stefan Wessels, third of the season for him, for CSA. Ben McCluskey, one hand on the championship. He won't do it tonight, but he might well do it next week. Second place for him in this feature race. Stephen Bird takes third place. A difficult feature race for him there. An incident earlier on in the race, but a good recovery to third. Mike Barber, fourth place, and he puts in a strong bid, potentially, to catch up. Third place in the championship, I would say, after tonight. Ben Bennyworth, fifth place. Definitely coming into form at the moment, Ben Bennyworth is, with the change of car, I believe. And a top 5 result, again, for him, similar to last week at Zolder. Sean Shute, sixth place, with Gene McClawn in seventh. Matthew Cheverton, the source of a lot of big battling there in that race, is eighth place. Jamie Dory, 9th, with Harry Langford on his debut tonight, rounding off the top 10. Gaz Williams, 11th. Alan McCain in 12th. And a lap or more down, is Martin Hobson, Ben Altria and Jake Pitt. Silver category now. And it is a strong win from Danny Janowski there in first place. 14 seconds clear of Kyle Oosthuizen, who had a little bit of drama along the way. Did back it into the wall due to an instant near to the end there. But he holds on to second place just in front of Nigel Stock, his championship rival. Mark Baker and Jochen Siegert. Them two, better results for them in this race. Some of their best results of the season for the ECO team. 4th and 5th for them. Matthew Addy, 6th place. A strong result and good points for him tonight. Perhaps putting a bid on 3rd place in the championship in silvers after tonight. A lap or more down are Ryan Blackwell, Paul Williams, Sammy Ariba, Aaron Hobson, Baz Meacham, Wesley Lewin, Paul Walsh, Mike Reedner, Mark Kent and Mark Sykes not finishing the race. Bronze category, and what a battle this was towards the end. Danny Switzer holds on for a maximum points round for him tonight. Gabriel Papaconstantino definitely saves the championship bid for him with a 2nd place there, and likewise with Elwin Sykes, 3rd place for him. Half a second between the top 3 as they came across the line there. Andy Chell battling for the race win for the majority of the race, but it just came a little bit undone towards the end there. It's 4th place for him in the end. Kurt Van Hoeniger in 5th place with Stein Vatens in 6th. Rob Savage 7th with Adam Wilson-Weir. A disappointing feature race for him, 8th. But we'll see how that all affects the championship later on. Jonathan Berry in 9th place with Andy Rooney in 10th. Matt Gatter in 11th and Craig Tillotson 12th. And not finishing also is Stephen de Gravelia. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have some interviews very, very shortly. We're just going to have a very, very quick break. Because I'm going to need to talk a lot here. I'm going to have to take a little bit of help. I'm just going to have to get some help in talking for the next half an hour or so. Won't be long, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back with some interviews in reaction to that race. Don't go away. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies for that. Suffering with the cold at the moment, so I took my acid pump there just to help me talk to these interviewees very, very shortly. So, we'll reverse back to the start of this race. Then we'll get some interviews. Now, hot off the back of a battle at the start there, we'll talk to Andy Chell first. We do owe him an interview. I didn't have time to interview him last week, I'll say. But, yeah, he's back with us this week. Andy Chell joins us in the comms booth here, and after a very good performance in that race, very entertaining race for him there. Andy Chell, welcome back to the comms booth. Sorry we couldn't speak to you last week, but yeah, not too bad. A good race there for you. Well, I would an entertaining race for you there. But yeah, just tell us initially, how was it battling with Danny Switzer there? Because it looked great from our point of view. Oh, 2 seconds. 2 seconds only. 2 seconds only. We haven't got you coming through at the moment. We'll have to... There we go. Thanks for letting me know in the chat. Yeah, there we go. Right. So
perfect.
We'll have to start again, Andy. So,
oh no, that's fine.
Keep it brief though, so we'll move on to more questions after that. There's
Yeah,
plenty to
cool.
talk about in that race.
So to sum up, Danny, really strong fight. Really strong, really fun fight though. And yeah, I really appreciate it. Like I say, he gave room, which is something that sometimes you don't see. Especially when the person that you're fighting with is over a lap probably a little faster than you. You tend to get cut off a bit, which does make it a bit more difficult to have them fun fights. But with Danny, that was great. So Danny, mate, if you're listening, thank you. It was a brilliant fight, mate. I really do appreciate it. That was a fun one.
Yeah, that was a great battle to watch, and some of the moves you were pulling back onto Danny Switzer is a bit. I was wincing a little bit at some of those moves, to be honest, but they were fantastic moves. Were you just determined to try and win that race tonight? Or?
Yes, to be honest with you, I wanted that one. At first, throughout the race, I was watching where Adam and Andy were, because as I've said, if they're behind me, I'm giving it up for them. But they had whatever happened. I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know exactly what happened at the start. But the gap opened for me, so I took it, and I was like, right, okay, if the guys are behind me, I'll go. And the more I was running, the more I see their names, the more I was like, right, okay, I'm maximising this now. I want this. Hence taking a risk with the tyres, because like I say, wanting it. And yeah, I mean, like I say, what allowed me to do them moves on Danny was him giving me the room to do that. So like I say, hats off to Danny. It was a brilliant fight. And yeah, I know a lot of people have probably been wincing, because a couple of my team do say I break way later than I should, which, you know, I'll hold my hands up sometimes. Yeah, I do. But here it works. So it was into that first corner, especially. If you're diagonal into the corner, you can brake probably 30-40 meters later than you probably would want to. And as long as the car ahead of you gives you the room to dive them, which, to be fair, he did, then you can have a good fun race, which, like I said, we did. It was really good fun. So yeah, like I say, just I wanted it once the other guys were out of the opportunity for me to give them the places, because, as I said, both Andy and Adam, I would have dropped out the way for them. So it's one of them, unfortunately for us, that those guys have dropped out a little bit on this race, but still got a couple of races left. There's still chances. So and that also means there's still chances for me to get that elusive win, because I'm not kidding, I want it. I do want it.
Yeah, could actually tell. And actually that brings me on to my next question, actually, which is, you seem to much prefer the Mustang, actually. I don't know if it's the track also, but the Mustang just seems more comfortable in your arms, I'd say. Yeah,
the Corvette was a tactical decision at the start of the season, because it was Quackmassey's car of choice that was decided on midway through the GT3 Proto Championship. We were looking at changing the Lamborghini, so we said, okay, mid-engine, loud, growly, we'll give the Corvette a go. It's worked out for some of us, even though, to be honest, there's still a lot of foibles with it. As I've said, I do love the car. It is a really nice car to drive, but the Mustang, I don't know, there's something about that Coyote V8 that just makes you want to go. And yeah, I mean, I won't lie, I've had some help from a competitor, shall we say, but one of my good friends I've mentioned a few times that races in this league as well, who runs the Mustang, he's helped me out a little bit just to get my I back in with the front engined car, so that has helped. You know, I don't want to get him in too much trouble for giving secrets away to the an opponent. So he knows who he is, and yeah, he's helped me out. So I really do appreciate that. And yeah, it is a very comfortable car to drive, but it's also gorgeous to listen to while you're driving. Which, for me, the sound of the car is important. I use the sound of the car to do my gearing. I don't really use the dash, so that might be a struggle for me when we move, because quite a massive decided what car we're going to run in 2025, so it might be a little bit difficult for me moving to that car because it doesn't have that.
One bit of advice I would give anyone actually is the more you stick with the car, the more you practice with the car, the more you'll get used to it. Yeah, so
that's what we've said.
What I would recommend to my team is you pick a car and you just learn it, guys.
Exactly. That was the conversation we had. Because if you look at the championship at the moment, I think we're running pretty much we have at some point ran every manufacturer apart from the Mercedes and the Lamborghini as a team. So, I mean, I won't spoil it, but if you look at what most of the team are driving, you can probably figure out what we're going to next season. Given what the new guys have joined in, it kind of gives it away a little bit. But,
well, let's talk about the rest of the team actually, because there's two drivers in particular who've had a great night actually. Harry Langford with nearly a podium in the first race, and Ben Bennyworth, he must love that Porsche now because he's come into real good form lately. So it's definitely something where Quetemass are putting themselves more on the board in that gold category now, aren't they, with Langford and Bennyworth towards the front.
Yeah, it's been a bit disappointing, unfortunately, for Harry that we couldn't get him in from the start. He's had other commitments, so bringing Harry in, he is one of our more experienced drivers, and it does show. Again, we have, as I've alluded to, we have said we're going to move to the Porsche, and it does seem to be gelling with everybody. No, I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But when you've got good advocates for the car in the team, I mean, let's be honest, Andy, as we've said from the start, has said we'd have to prize him out of that car if we wanted to go for something different. And to be fair, the results speak for themselves. Andy does really well in that car. I know he's had a couple of bad rounds, but that isn't a reflection of him or his skill. He's just been unlucky. No. And you know, as you say, you look at Ben, and I said this to him last week. I said, if you look at your points from the McLaren and then you look at your first round in a car that you didn't know in the wet, because Zolder was a fun, with quotation marks there, fun event for us. I said, you look how you've done in that, in a car that you've jumped in and done, you know, fair enough, a decent amount of practice for the getting used to the track, but to learn the car as well, it's a big jump. And he's doing well, and he's done exactly the same this well, I nearly said weekend there, but tonight as well. In this round, he's jumped in and he's had an amazing round. So yeah, Ben's gelling with that car really well, and to be fair, he did say he wished he'd gone with it from the start. So bit of hindsight, you know, it always is 2020. And then, like I say, Harry is a very, very good driver, so it has been a bit unfortunate that we haven't been able to get him in from the start, but because you never know what could have been. But yeah, Harry, I'm looking forward to seeing what Harry will be able to do next season when he's able to run the full season, so that's going to be an interesting one.
It is, yes. Particularly if we go GT3s again next season, it's likely we could see a Quetemass driver battling for top spot in the gold category.
We are hoping so. Honestly, we'll probably race anything with you anyway. Obviously, depending on commitments. But yeah, we do tend to specialise around the GT3, so we do enjoy that car, and we're really looking forward to what's going to go on. So, really looking forward to that.
Excellent. So next week we're off to the Nürburgring for the Grand Prix circuit. I don't know if you know, but it rains a lot in Germany. So
it does, yeah. I'm hesitant to say anything because the wet isn't my favourite. It isn't. I think maybe in next week, then maybe I know the car now, or I know the car better than I did last week, so it'll give me more of an opportunity to adjust to it in the wet. But a lot of people have said that the Mustang's not the strongest in the wet. For me, I think it'll be if I don't end up facing the wrong way on the lap 1, I'll be happy, because that tends to happen for me in the wet. So, or Paul, I'll say this now: if I don't tangle with you, I'll be a happy mate, because I didn't need to do that last time. I apologise to you, but it's the wet is what it is. So, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. The guys, some of our team do really enjoy the wet, some of them don't. So we do have a bit of a mix on that. It is tough. Everybody knows that the wet's tough anyway. So we will see. Fingers crossed that Kev, you're not allowed to go out there and do a rain dance, mate. We don't want it. But if it does happen, then we'll obviously adapt to it and overcome it. But we'll see. No rain. No rain.
Oh, you know I like seeing the rain come in.
Oh, I know you do.
I want it at Daytona, I do.
oh, that'll be... Is the one thing I'd like to see at Daytona, I'd like to see is in the dark for Daytona. That would be fun.
That would be great, actually,
yeah.
We haven't had a night race yet, so yeah.
No, I know.
Absolutely.
That would be quite fun. Daytona in the day is good, but it's a night race, let's be honest.
It is, yeah.
That's what people want it for, so...
Okay, so floor is yours, Andy. Anybody you want to give a shout out to before we head off tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give a shout out to all of the drivers. There's 8 of them now, so I won't list them by name because we'll be here for a while. But shout out to all the drivers. They are doing brilliantly, and I do appreciate every single one of them digging deep when it doesn't go their way and keep going. So I do want to say that. Obviously, to all of our sponsors at Quatermass, we've got a couple, and we do appreciate everything they do to help us go racing. And then to everyone who's watching, and to you, Alex, to be fair, mate, because without your platform, without the people that watch, we wouldn't be able to put on the fun races we do. So,
much
really
appreciated, Andy. I'm just going to, before we head off, I'm just going to refer to Andy Rooney's comment. It's nearly Christmas, but we don't need reindeer. Brilliant.
Love it. Yeah, I'll give him that one. I'll give him a 10% rise for that. I'll give him that.
Fantastic. Absolutely. He deserves that. Brilliant.
He does.
Anyway, Andy, thank you very much for joining us again tonight. Sorry we missed you last week, but
that's all right.
Don't, as I say, don't be a stranger. Good luck next week. Bad luck tonight, but you put on a great show tonight, so thank you for that. We'll see you next time at Nürburgring.
It was fun. See you soon. Bye.
Bye. There we go. Andy Chell chatting to us as usual. And we haven't seen it much in these replays because it happens later on in the race, but Andy Chell really did put on a great show tonight. All the bronze drivers did tonight. In fact, a lot of the drivers did tonight. Let's just be honest. But yeah, fantastic racing from a lot of people tonight. There's a lot of discussions in Discord tonight about the instance, etc. But it ends up being water under the bridge, I'm sure. But before we head off tonight, ladies and gentlemen, let's just remind ourselves, or in fact, let's just inform ourselves of the championship situation heading into next week's round. Fresh off the press here, Ben McCluskey holds a lead in the championship of 79 points from Stephen Bird. Now, I'm going to do some quick maths, and I calculate that if Ben McCluskey does not concede any points to Stephen Bird in that opening race, he wins the championship in that opening race. That's my calculations. So that's the situation. But a strong hold on second place for Stephen Bird is still a good result for him. And he'll have to keep going because there's only a 23-point gap to hold second place to Gaz Williams, who hangs on to it for the time being. Didn't lose a great deal of points actually to Mike Barber, who takes 4th place in the championship. The Verano Motorsport driver gaining up the standings round by round. Sean Shute in 5th position, following a decent result from him tonight. 6th position in category in the feature race. Martin Hobson, a good sprint race for him. Not such a good feature race, but it puts him into 6th place in the championship. Stefan Wessels, albeit starting late, is in 7th in the championship following another win tonight. Jamie Doyle 8th. Edwin Simpson drops to 9th due to his absences. And likewise with Gavin Gardner dropping to 10th. Silver category now, and Kyle Oosthuizen opens up the lead in the championship to 25 points over Nigel Stock. Stock does, though, have a healthy-ish 30-point lead over Matthew Addy, who takes 3rd place from Ian Manners, who was absent tonight. But 3rd place for Matthew Addy following a strong result tonight. A 2nd place in the sprint race and a 6th place in the feature race. Ian Manners, as we mentioned, in 4th position, and Aaron Hobson rising up to 5th position past Jeffrey Kruger in 6th. And then it's Mark Baker in 7th, Baz Meacham in 8th, Paul Walsh 9th, and Mark Sykes 10th. Bronze category now, and Adam Wilson-Weir hangs on to the lead in the championship, albeit the difficult feature race tonight, but he did have a good sprint race. And actually, all 3 of the top 3 there within 2 points of one another. Elwyn Sykes and Gabriel Papaconstantino on exactly the same amount of points as each other from this round. And therefore, it's just a 7-point gap between 1st to 3rd. Wilson-Weir, Sykes and Papaconstantino after tonight. Andy Rooney does lose the tail a little bit, but he's definitely still in the battle, I would say. 4th place for him, and he is 15 points behind Adam Wilson-Weir. Too many maths tonight. Kurt Van Hoenke holds 5th place in the championship from Stein Vatens in 6th, Rob Savage 7th, and John Berry in 8th. Andy Chell, good round for him tonight, 9th place for him, and Craig Tillotson in 10th position. Teams Championship, and it's definitely one hand on the trophy for Next Gen Racing with Benji Sim Photos, with a 101-point gap over Quatermass Para Drivers Academy in 2nd position. They're 11 points ahead of CSA Team Pass Up, and Yorkshire Mafia Racing are only 5 points behind them in 4th place. Then it's a 20-point gap to CSA Team Woza. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That has been tonight's racing here at Next Gen, here at Interlagos for round 8 of the championship. Next week, we're off to Germany again for the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit. And it'll be the final round of which we have a sprint race and a feature race, but it's the penultimate round of the season, and we could see a champion crowned in the gold category, and it could well be Ben McCluskey next week. But there's plenty of other championship battles still rolling on, including silver category and the bronze category. Thank you very much for watching tonight, ladies and gentlemen. This has been the Next Gen Racing GT3 Season 6 Round 8 at Interlagos. We could see a new champion in Next Gen Racing next week, so definitely tune in next week. Same time as usual on Thursdays here at Next Gen Racing on YouTube, Kick and Facebook. Please give us a like, follow and or subscribe on the channels, and check in with Next Gen Racing with all the racing we've got live on the channel. I've been Alex Everett, your commentator tonight. Thank you for watching tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next week where we could have a new champion at Next Gen Racing. Goodbye for now.
Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, that's all from us here at Next Gen Racing, the home of clean and fair sim racing for all.